YouTube? We made it.
What up, YouTube?
Yeah.
Now we here at 6 o'clock. Let's do it.
All right, you ready to get this show started?
Please start the show so we can get the rolling. This is Sippin' with Sammy. I am Mr. Fly Shit Only, the one and only Sippin' with Sammy. Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammy, you ain't sippin' right. Please get your fucking life together.
Damn Sammy, damn Sammy, damn Sammy, damn Sammy, you done fucked up.
Thanks, Sammy.
Yup! What's up with y'all, man? Happy Monday, happy hour, all that flyness. Hopefully everybody's enjoying a Labor Day. Hopefully everybody had a cool day off of work. If you had to work, hopefully they paid you that double up. Made it worth your time, man. But I'm good. I'm in a great mood today. I'm excited about this evening. I got a few good people in the building with me. But before I introduce them, like, share, subscribe, and comment along with us, chat along with us while we live. We are currently live on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch simultaneously, and we have all three chats popping. So leave a little something in there. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what you want to say. Let us know where you from. First of all, I will introduce the one who is here every day and every week that we do this thing. Kay from Fine Productions is in the building.
Hey.
What's up with you, Kay?
You know, living the dream as I am every Monday.
Yeah, you feeling good?
Absolutely. We had off today. Shout out to Labor Day.
Yep.
Feeling great. Yeah, ready to get this show started.
And to the right of me, or maybe the left for y'all, I don't know how this works. But we got the OG, man, Lovely Lay's dad. Pops is in the building with us, man.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Now, this has been a long time in the making. Pops don't like to talk to y'all. It's like, no, he don't be wanting to be on camera. He does a lot in the background, and he doesn't like things to be made about him. He don't want to talk about himself. He don't want to be complimented and tell his story. So he said he's going to come through on a Monday and go over some topics with us, and we're going to chop it up with him because this is my guy. This is one of the main people I've been talking to at events lately when I step outside. Real rap, real rap. So you good, Pops?
Yes, sir.
Anything you want them to know before we get started?
Glad to be here. Glad to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready. Lace your boots up because we're going for a ride, baby.
That's what we doing, man. Let's have it. See, he ready. I told you he'd be ready, Kay. Soon as Kay gets situated, we can.
My bad. I was just checking the sound.
No, you good. Do what you gotta do.
I'm good now. I did it.
All right, cool, wonderful. We're gonna start with the weekend recap, but we're gonna let Pops kick it off and let us know what's been going on with this long weekend of his that he's had, man. What's happening?
Oh, man, the weekend's been a little crazy. We got this event coming up. Pre-fireworks, fashion show, concert, Lovely Lake Beats.
Wait.
Paris.
I got another flyer for that.
Philadelphia. The Harris Casino.
Big
we got
deal.
Son of the 215 performing.
Yep.
The legendary DJ Cool. I'm just gonna spaz out when he do that. Let me clear my throat.
Yeah,
I'm
crazy.
spazzing.
God damn.
You know, we're gonna have fireworks. It's gonna be a good event.
So you've been
Y'all
working
come
on
out,
that all
support.
weekend?
Yeah, we've been working it out. It's different for us because this is the first time we have a sponsor and a corporate sponsor. So we're trying to, break that rim in the corporate world there. But it's gonna be nice. Fashion show. You got a fashion show, fireworks, Son of the 215 shutting it down. You're going to see Doc Moses. That's the joint Lovely Lake produced with Core, Son. Then we got, he's going to perform Blessings, another joint perform. We got 7 designers. Hotness. Street Corner Design. Hustle Society. Deluxe du Jour. We got it. Whatever y'all need, y'all can come. Get at us. Come support the event. Come support Lovely Lake Beats. We got to get behind our children that's doing things out here.
Yeah.
That part.
Yep. And if y'all don't know, like I said, Lovely Lay is his daughter. She is 23 years old now. About to be 24. So when he says our children, she's still young, man, and she's doing the big girl work. So we got to help her be secure in those positions that she's working towards for sure, because this is a big deal. This is not a small feat. Harris Casino, the radio station, DJ Cool, fireworks. You know how much it costs to be able to let off fireworks somewhere legally?
Yeah, man.
Like, that's a big deal,
Go
yo.
to Eventbrite, click the Lovely Leg Beats fashion show link so we can get the points. You will see a DJ Cool link. You'll see a Lovely Leg Beats fashion show link. Buy your tickets from the Lovely Leg Beats fashion show. It's going to be epic. If you're not there, you're going to miss something special. We pulled the same thing off last year when we had G Myers performing, Black Vibes performing, Fam Inc. perform. So this year's getting bigger, it's getting better, and once we lock down Harris, we coming back and we going to get the people.
I heard that. That's heavy. That's a big deal, man. Congratulations. So his weekend wrap up was that they've been working on a fashion show all weekend. So, Kay, how about you? Where you at with it?
What did I do this weekend? All right, so Friday, I actually ended up going back to Allentown, which is where I'm originally from. Hung out with the family and my cousin, Lee. His band was performing.
My guy, Lee, man.
At the
Lee is a cool guy.
Steel Stacks Pavilion. So I got to go see his band for the first time, Rocksteady. And it was dope. They're a 3-piece band, and all 3 of them sing.
Dope.
Lee plays the bass, the one dude plays the drums, and the other guy's on lead guitar, and they are a cover band. But they cover a lot of songs that folks don't normally cover but are still popular songs. And the latest song that they played in their set was from 1990, so they didn't play a single song from when I was born, but it was still a dope set, and I think I still knew all but 2 songs they played, so I was proud of that.
Dope.
Nice.
I definitely saw some footage. Kay has sent me a couple clips of them rocking out on stage. He looks real comfortable up there, man. I talk to him all the time about his gigs and things he has going on currently, and he gives you that energy that, like, no, that's his world, and I'm gonna get to see you soon live, Lee, God willing, but he really look like that's his world in the videos. And that's what you like to see from people that perform, man. It ain't easy getting up there for a lot of people, but when you up there, you breathing sometimes, man.
Gotta know your art. You gotta
Absolutely.
know what you do, and you gotta do what you love. That's one of the things that I love about Son.
Don't it look so natural?
Son, you cannot tell Son he not a superstar.
It's been like that. His stage
presence is crazy, but his studio manner is even crazier. The way he prepares is even crazier. I was one the studio session with him in Core. First of all, shout out to Core. I gotta say this. He was the most professional, because I take bits and pieces of each session we do. And this brother came in, no real big entourage. Let me hear the track. Strange look on his face, bobbing his head. 15 minutes later, I'm ready. No pen, no paper, I'm ready. Goes in his jaw, lays it down.
Shout out to Uptown. You know what I'm saying?
Then Son go in there, and we did the track in like maybe an hour.
Sound about right.
Maybe an hour. So I was definitely impressed, with those 2 young fellas.
And when I say sound about right, I'm not saying every track takes an hour. I'm saying that for those gentlemen, and I know what studio they was at and all that. They was at Sound Genius, right?
Yeah, Sound Genius.
Yeah, that's little bro on the boards over there. So, yeah.
Shout out to Av.
Shout out to Av.
Crack was in the building. PD.
Yeah, I heard.
Shout out to PD.
Yep.
It was a good time in that joint that night. We had a lot.
So, no, that's fire. Kay. Friday.
Yeah, so Saturday morning I did have a funeral. That's why I was in Allentown. So rest in peace to my great aunt Marianne. She's in a much better place and free from the pain that she was going through. So cancer sucks, but I'm glad she is finally at peace. And then the rest of my weekend has just been pretty chill. I've been catching up on some TV and enjoying my time off. What about you, Sam?
Shout out to DJ Trail and Keisha, who I call Truck, his wife. Was at their block party Saturday, and one thing about their block, and I say this to people all the time, and it's ironic. Shout out to Cash. When I said I was going to a block party, I seen him right before, and he said, "Yo, be careful, cause you know stuff crazy out here." And I'm like, "Well, this ain't one of them blocks."
Yeah.
Then 30 minutes later, I'm sitting at a table about to play cards, and I'm looking around me, and I'm laughing because I'm like, this ain't one of them blocks. And I understood his sentiment. He was dead right that, you know, you always want to give people a heads up. It is crazy out here. But, like, people not even used to, like, a calm, family-oriented block party, and it's communal. Neighbors are being neighborly. Yeah. You know, everything is you can go in the bathroom, any house, from here to there. If you need to.
Still a sense of community.
Yeah.
Still a sense of neighborhood, not hood.
Exactly. And they ain't far from nobody else block that's rough. But it's just beautiful people, good energy,
Nice.
The vibes, everybody's dancing. You know, they all got the bounce house, so the kids was content. They had pony rides and all that. And I sat at the spades table, and I sat there until they opened the street up. Because I refused to give my seat up. Because I ain't getting up without losing, and y'all ain't beating me today. I was in that kind of mood that day. And that's how the night ended. Shout out to Twin pulled up on me. Was chopping it up with him. While we sitting at the spades table, his wife sends him a video of his son's first steps while we were sitting at the block party. His first kid, his first son's first steps. So that was like fire, because I'm sitting next to him when he first see it. And then he like, yo, look, we showing the whole table like they know the baby. You know what I mean? But everybody understands the sentiment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I had a great time with them. Yesterday, Sunday, I actually had an interview scheduled that got postponed. And shortly after that, I had a scheduled Zoom meeting for a job, for an interview for a job. And I handled that. And after that, I hadn't made any plans. So I wound up chilling for the rest of the day. And just looking forward to today and coming on here and doing what we're doing now. But I had a good weekend overall. The highlight was probably the block party, though. The block party, and that's always a good thing. It's crazy because I woke up and was like, I don't got nothing to do today. I went on Facebook and I seen Keisha posting that they was setting up. I'm like, bad. Because last thing I want to do in the summer is miss the Danny Rump tournament and a block party. Those are two things I try to do every summer consistently. So I had a good time. Long story, but it's over now. Let's get into some topics.
All right. So before we hit our first topic, I did want to remind the people that Fishtown Feastivale is coming up. September 28th, happening on Frankfort Avenue from Girard to Palmer. This is a large street food festival. We have over 40 food vendors this year. You heard that right. Over 40 food vendors this year. So it's going to be popping. And we're going to have plenty to eat, plenty to drink, 4 different stages throughout the event. DJs all day long from 12 to 8 p.m. Come on out September 28th. That is a Saturday on Frankfort Avenue in Fishtown from Girard Ave to Palmer.
And we come on here every week and we tell y'all that Kay organizes and does things of this nature, this magnitude. This is her production. This is a font production. The Fishtown Feastivale. So come out there and see how heavy what she does is. Most of her festivals 100+ vendors,
Definitely
200 vendors.
Oh yeah, we have
multiple stages. This is not an easy thing to do. It's a lot to coordinate. And
100 art vendors, 40 food vendors.
Nice.
25 of which, maybe 30 of which, are actually Fishtown local restaurants. So if there's something in Fishtown that you haven't tried that you want to try out, this is a perfect opportunity to do it. I'm talking about Elemento, Frankfurt Hall, Feta Sal. We have Walkworks out there. We have Bottle Bar, Mom's Pierogies that just did the collaboration with Urs. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of like the top food brands that you've heard of in the city. And of course Johnny Brenda's and some of the staple tried and trues as well.
Yeah, man, Feastivale is always a good time, always a good time. As always with festivals, it's always about the weather, but in this area where this festival is going on, they come outside regardless.
You see my
raincoats, dogs, they be out there.
You see my turtle has an umbrella.
Yeah.
We rocking regardless.
Yeah, it's not a thing. Trust me. You be like, I'm gonna go out there. It should be light. No, make sure that you prepare because you're gonna have to walk slow. It's still gonna be a crowd. It's still gonna be a crowd. It's a beautiful thing, and it's big for the local businesses, man. It's important. It's important.
I'm excited about this year's T-shirt too. It's this design, but on a T-shirt.
That's fly.
Yeah,
that's fly.
So I'm pumped. So it's a little less bright, but it's gonna be dope.
Nice,
decent, and it's crazy because people collect those shirts every year. People go there and make sure they specifically find out if they can get a shirt.
Absolutely. All right, now I'm ready to get into some topics.
All right, we good.
You want to start with the WNBA?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go. Let's go, baby.
All right, so let's remind the people where the standings are. You can see I have last week's standings that we shared with y'all in the corner there, so you can see what shifted. But number 1, we have New York Liberty. Number 2, Connecticut Sun. Number 3, Minnesota Lynx. Number 4, Las Vegas Aces. Number 5, Seattle Storm. Number 6, Indiana Fever, who hopped up over Phoenix Mercury. Number 7. Number 8 is still Chicago Sky, but Atlanta Dream is right behind them. Number 10 is Washington Mystics. Number 11, Dallas Wings. And number 12 is the Los Angeles Sparks. So we know that the top 8 teams are going to end up making the playoffs, which begin on September 20th.
Very soon.
Yes. You can see that the top 5 teams already have their playoff spots clinched. Mm-hmm. And Indiana Fever has now crossed the 500 threshold, and if they continue the trajectory in the way that they've been playing, I think that they will be the next to clinch a playoff spot. However, when it comes down to the Chicago Sky, things are looking a little dicey. They have one of the toughest remaining schedules out of any of the teams who are up here, including having to play the Liberty, the Lynx, the Aces, and Mercury in the remainder of their season. So with that in mind, do you think that the Chicago Sky will be able to hang on to their number 8 spot? Or do you think a team like the Dallas Wings, led by Enrique, or Atlanta Dreams, or even the Washington Mystics could jump ahead?
I'll go first. I'm not going to lie. When it comes to this season, I don't feel like Chicago has it to hang, and I feel like if they do maintain that spot, then it'll be a wasted slot. I think they'll go out early. I want Enrique in the playoffs. I want to see Enrique as much as possible. Every time she's on the court, it is a show. Like, if she could dunk, she'd be Ja. She just go out there and attack everything in front of her, like, relentlessly. And right now, Angel has a lot to learn. And a lot of the offensive things are still going through her. They're still trying to figure their thing out. And I would rather see Enrique in the playoffs, honestly. I don't know if that sounds weird, but I just don't think that Angel and them will go deep. She still hasn't really learned how to shoot a layup yet.
So I think, personally, the next 3 games are really crucial for the Dallas Wings. So tomorrow they have the Mystics. Friday they have Dream. And then on Sunday they have Sky. So if they can win all 3 of those games, to me, they will end up getting that 8 spot.
I give them 2 out of 3.
Yeah, why not 2?
I give them 2 out of 3.
So the problem is, after that, they have 2 games against the Liberty, a game against the Storm, a game against the Fever, and then they finish with the Aces.
Hey, you know what's crazy about the Aces? I just seen something probably an hour ago that said Asia Wilson is wearing white tees until they are consistently winning again. They not playing. She's not going to let them lose. Asia's different.
She is.
She's LeBron. Females.
I wouldn't even say LeBron.
Who would you say?
Kobe.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Here's the thing about her.
Because she doesn't bring the ball up. She does, but
she don't do a lot of talking. And it's about what I do and what I can do. And I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to be about it. And I can show you better than I can tell you. That's what I like about her.
And she got ice in her veins. You saw the game winner a week or 2 ago?
That's what I'm saying. I would say Kobe. Because she has that killer that dog.
I like the Kobe comparison better. I think you won that one. I like Kobe. We gonna go with Kobe.
I like that dog in her, man.
No, but that's what I like about athletes, and I want to see a dog. If you a dog, I'm riding with you. I don't care about size and you know how it looks on paper. What do you give out of this thing right here when it matters? And I think that she does do that.
What it's going to come down to with all the teams is who has the will to win and who is willing. What team is going to be willing to do whatever it takes to be the champion?
I think that in this last week or two, we've seen a lot of upsets in the WNBA, which shows that nobody's above a loss. Like, a lot of these teams that we're talking about that are very close can beat each other and the teams above them on any given night. Like, the league is not as divided as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
That's why it's going to come down
It's
to
a lot of talent this year.
who has the will to win. And
I'm agreeing with you.
Also,
I'm agreeing with you.
Who has the better team, overall team chemistry.
And the weird thing about that is there's about 4 teams in the WNBA that have awesome chemistry and pieces and 2, maybe 3 star players on their team.
Yeah.
And that's scary. It's going to be wild, man. I can't wait for the WNBA playoffs. I don't know if we answered your question, but did we, Kai?
Yeah, I think you did. My question was, do you think the Sky can hang on to their number 8 spot?
My initial thing was I don't think that they will, and I think that if they do, just for anybody that was confused, if they do, I think that they'll go out early, so I would rather see Enrique in them.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think we're going to end up seeing Chicago Sky or Enrique and the Dallas Wings in the playoffs. I think it's going to end up being Atlanta Dream that takes that spot. They've been balling, and I think overall they have the easiest remaining schedule left.
That was my next question once you said though.
Yep.
Because they had the same schedule.
Yep.
All right, cool.
So I think that that's the way that this is going to end up shaking out. But it's still, there's still enough time left, and a lot of things can happen as we're seeing game by game.
Because we're talking about plus 2s, plus 1, plus half a game. Like, we ain't talking about that big a gap.
Since we also just talked about Asia Wilson, I want to have a larger conversation about the MVP race. So
let's go.
One of the things that recently came out, and it was a quote from Stephen A., was that Caitlin Clark should be considered in the MVP race for the WNBA this year, which some folks on the internet have backed up. Other folks, myself included, vehemently disagree. What do you guys think of the notion that Caitlin Clark should be considered for WNBA MVP of this year?
I want to qualify something.
Sure.
His statement was that she deserves to be in consideration for the MVP race. Not for the MVP, right?
Yes.
Not that she should get MVP, but that she should be considered for MVP.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to be clear because that could get sketchy.
All right, so
yeah,
consider yes, MVP no.
Right, exactly.
She hasn't done enough for the MVP, and this is just my opinion. I don't think she's done enough to win the MVP. Maybe Rookie of the Year.
I think she got Rookie of the Year.
I give her Rookie of the Year.
I'll give her Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But I think her name is Angel, something like that.
Who, Angel Reese?
What?
Angel's tough.
What?
Angel's tough.
She's my front runner.
Caitlin, to me, has had a better season and a bigger impact. And Caitlin is more... Caitlin's biggest knock at the beginning of her WNBA career season, because it was only a couple months ago, it's funny when you think about it, right, was that she had too many turnovers. What we've realized is that some of her teammates had to learn how to catch her passes. So her efficiency has went up through the roof, whereas on the other side, we have Angel Reese, who, though she scores and rebounds consistently, and I think she's going to average a double-double for her career, she gets she shoots 40-something% from 5 feet from the basket. She's throwing the ball at the rim. Half of her rebounds are offensive rebounds that she gave to herself. But and that doesn't look as good as when you see, because you know they just played against each other this weekend.
Okay,
and it looked different.
Let me go back.
Uh-huh.
There was one of the greatest centers that used to do that. His name was Moses Malone.
He did it on purpose. He was padding
okay,
stats. She's trying.
But if she can get her rebounds and put it back, that qualifies her.
If you can average 10, 12 and 10, anything like that as a rookie, you qualify, yeah.
I think her shot will just get better over time.
I know it will.
To answer the original question, I think Caitlyn would be Rookie of the Year, hands down.
Well, let's have the Angel conversation because you just touched on something. You saying what I've been saying, and Cake can co-sign this. I've been saying this for a while. Angel hasn't had an off season yet since college to be able to have those real intense workouts with the NBA trainers and the WNBA trainers. You know, the big dogs.
The big dogs
that'll get her more efficient at their thing. So I agree with you 100%. With next season, we'll see a way better Angel Reese than we see right now. I believe that 100 wholeheartedly.
I mean, I take my hat off to both of them young ladies.
Oh no, they're amazing.
Because to come into a business, because they're past the level of playing basketball for fun.
Yep.
Now it's a business.
And hope to have fun at some point.
Carry themselves the way they have carried themselves.
Absolutely.
Especially Kate.
In response to the criticism.
Because she's the Larry Bird of the WNBA. Mm-hmm. When Larry Bird came into the league, remember they pushed that.
No, I don't remember, but I heard.
Okay, I remember. I was there. They pushed that narrative on him, and they're trying to push that narrative on her, even though she don't want it.
She ain't asked for none of this. She just want to play basketball.
The way she's been carrying it, definitely take my hat off.
I got a lot of respect for her from how she's responded to the adversity since college. How she supported Angel and even South Carolina when they was at odds and trying to play for a championship against each other. She always maintained the same demeanor and the same response, and she always remained deserved respect because she gave respect.
Yeah.
And Angel has thrown her little shots and said her little slick stuff, but she's actually responded very well also. Because even when she says the slick thing, she didn't say what she wanted to say. She said something to make you look stupid. And that's all she got to do sometimes. Is that you don't make yourself look crazy.
Right.
Tell them what your purpose is and how you taking things and what you
push.
Exactly. And I love it. I'm glad you brought that up because we mention that on here all the time. But it's important.
Yeah.
They're superstars, and at the end of the day, to some extent, can write their own ticket because of their stature in their league. But they are handling it with grace. And it's awesome.
No doubt.
So, Sam, can you answer my original question about the MVP race?
I think that Caitlyn gets it hands down. I mean, Caitlyn hands down should be in the consideration for MVP. I don't think that there's 5 players that outplayed Caitlyn this year.
I think there are.
I don't think so.
I think there's at least 3.
I think there's 4.
Okay.
I think there might be 5. But even at that point, we're talking about a rookie that's still in the top 10 in the league.
Here's my issue with all of this.
Actually, 2, because Angel probably in the top 10 too.
Here's my issue with her being considered in the MVP race. To me, A'ja Wilson's stats are so head and shoulders above anybody else in the league that for anybody else to be being considered, unless we're talking about either Arike or Nafisa because of the quality of seasons that they're having.
Nafisa's on my list too.
And where their stats are, nobody else should even be in this conversation besides those 3 names. Well, that's my point. And the reason I feel so strongly about it is because every time we talk about the NBA, and even in the MVP race, where it should be clear that the stat leaders are who this should go to, we always bring the conversation back to Caitlin Clark. And there's been people
in the NBA?
WNBA.
Oh, okay.
There have been people in this league who have been killing the game for a very long time in a way that deserves recognition. And the MVP race is where they get that recognition. So I very strongly feel that unless it's those three names, they should not be in consideration this year.
Well, see, when you say those three, the people you named are my other are the other people on my list that I have above her anyway. But the way that the MVP conversation goes, even in the NBA, like the conversation has extended itself to Ja Morant at points of some seasons because it doesn't stop at the top three when we're talking about the conversation. When it goes to voting, there will be multiple names on that list, more than three, and there might be somebody on that list that don't get no votes, and that might be Caitlyn. But it doesn't mean she can't be on the list. Sometimes you get a unanimous MVP. It's rare, and I think Asia will get one this year.
I think she should.
I think hands down,
she should.
head and shoulders, like Kay said, above the rest of the field, head and shoulders.
She's averaging 27 points per game.
No, she's averaging 38 in the last 3 games or something. She had like 40, 42, and 20.
But that's my point.
And all double-doubles.
And 10
that's
rebounds.
my
Like,
point.
what are we
double-doubles.
talking about?
She's snapping. No, but I mean, that's why I wanted to be clear about whether we was talking about should she be MVP or should she be in the conversation. There's nothing wrong with her being in the conversation, though. It's something wrong if you try to put her above Asia, though.
I just don't want Caitlin Clark to dominate the conversation.
I think that the more conversations that Caitlyn is a part of, the more conversations get attention. So if Asia comes out at the top of that argument and Caitlyn's name was involved in it, then more people are aware of how great Asia is.
That's one way to look at it.
You got a point.
It's 50% of the whole reason why we like her for the WNBA in the first place is her impact as far as visually. The other part is what she do on the court. She's made more 3-pointers from 30 feet than the rest of the WNBA. She tripled it. She got 14, they got 4.
Okay. I agree that she belongs in the conversation, but
that's a different kind of show.
Is a whole different.
Yeah, I don't think she should win it at all.
Ball of wax.
And mind you, I don't think anybody has a chance of winning it as long as Asia is playing Asia Wilson basketball.
Well, she gonna be doing.
And I love Juju. I can't wait to see Juju get up there. But Asia, Asia's a monster.
Different kind of animal.
Oh,
Shout out to Bam.
All right. So
that's who's been kicking it with Asia.
I know we already talked about Angel Reese, but she did put another record in the books. She now has...
Every week they break records.
Every week. That's why I keep this graphic exactly the same every week. She has the most rebounds in a single season record now with 404.
Not by rookies. By anybody.
By anybody. She had the one for rookies first. Mm-hmm. Cleared that.
That's why I wanted to be clear.
Got the one for everybody now.
People think we compounding it. Like, no, this is a separate record.
Yep.
This means every time she touches the ball off the glass, she's just extending this record. Like, that's a beautiful position to be in as a rookie.
Absolutely. That means she's going to dominate a long time.
Golly. That's like some Magic Johnson. Like this, we're seeing 2 women having Magic Johnson runs as rookies, and not in like you got one that has a playoff. Well, neither one of them won the championship, right? But you're talking about just like record breaking things that we thought wasn't possible.
Here's going to be the narrative for the next 5 to 7 years. Them 2 against each other.
And it's already been 3 years.
That's going to be the new narrative.
So they the new
Magic and Bird.
Yeah, so it's white versus black again.
It's Magic and Bird. It's great marketing for the networks. People are going to feed into it, regardless. When anybody say they're going to feed into it, both of them have their loyal fans.
Absolutely.
The next goal for the WNBA is put them 2 in the championship against each other.
I think you just touched on something else that we didn't mention earlier about how great they are as ambassadors or athletes.
Yeah.
The way that they handle the fans, the way that they treat their people, like they have an understanding of like, no, this is important. This is important. I know I'm mad. I know I had a bad game. This is important. I'm going to make this little girl feel like she could be me. I'm going to make this person, you know what I mean? And I think the WNBA has always been about that. But now, since there's more light on it, you see that they come in with that mentality from day one.
Because it's their time and they know it.
Yo, that's crazy, yo. It's nice to watch, yo.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I agree.
It's very interesting. And it's not too many WNBA games that I don't want to at least click on to see what's going on now. It's not even about the teams that's playing no more. It's exciting again. Like back in the day.
Yeah.
Where we at, Kay?
I think it's time to talk about Sherryl Swoopes.
Yeah, Pops, you hip to this?
Nah, but put me on.
So Sherryl Swoopes has had an issue with Caitlin Clark all season, and it's been one of those things where she'll diss Caitlin by omission. Like she says the Indiana Fever doing so great this season, and she named 4 players off the Fever and didn't name Caitlin.
Sound personal.
Yesterday they had a game. Was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday there was a game, and Sherryl was supposed to commentate on the game, and they pulled her from the commentating right before the game. We don't have an explanation yet, but it's possibly attached to how she's been treating Caitlin. Now she's doubled down, tripled down on the fact that it's not a personal thing. She doesn't hate that girl. She is just not on her register. But then just before we went live, I saw that she showed a screenshot of a DM, it looks like, of her congratulating Caitlin to prove that she doesn't hate on Caitlin. But the great Sherryl Swoopes, one of the dopest women we ever seen on the court, that had 2 of the best basketball signature sneakers in the history of basketball,
Okay.
is hating on the youth.
Let's dissect it.
Talk to me.
There may be some
Bear, please.
resentment of the publicity that she gets. There may be some resentment of how people cling to this young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the old guard just don't want to pass the torch
And a lot of times
to
the resentment,
the young guard.
and a lot of times the resentment comes from the opportunities that are available now that weren't available when you were on board, right?
Yeah, but that just comes in time.
But this is my
I don't
point,
expect my children
to go through the same shit you went
to not only not go through the same thing, but have the same opportunities
Mm-hmm.
I had when there's more available to them.
And you worked for more to be available.
And you try to put them in a higher light.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is that she's going through,
Mm-hmm.
she needs to tap on that because it's getting ready to mess with her bread.
It is. That's what it sounds like. And you know how quick they get you off these networks, man, with these sports shows.
Because
Caitlin is the bag.
being a commentary, being a ball rider is just part of being a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to switch from person to person and be objective and remove personal feelings or animosities if you're going to be a commentator. I know this is a little off script, but it's like, I know for me, I could never be a cop because I'll be dirty. I already know it. I'm sticking up crack games. I'm taking drug money. So why? So if you can't be a commentator and be subjective, why do it?
Mm-hmm.
And she a young girl doing her thing. There's going to be resentment because of the racial component.
Absolutely.
And some of these older African American women feel like, who is this white girl coming in here getting all this press, doing this and doing that, and she hasn't proved herself yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that.
Could be a lot of things. But what happens, and we've seen this before, we've seen it in hip-hop, we've seen it in the NBA, as far as how the old guard looks at the new guard. One thing's for sure, the momentum is behind the youngin', first of all. Right? You on your way out,
now.
you holding on.
Yeah.
It's their turn. 2, we've seen people wind up on the wrong side of history because they was in their own head too much. So then the opportunities that come from whatever the new situation provides, i.e. versus.
Yeah.
Something that is for a new generation created by the old guard. But if you was one of the ones that wasn't playing the game, you're not getting the invite to this party when we sticking this company up for all this money during COVID real quick. Right?
Facts.
And you essentially whether what you stood on was legit in your mind or not, it wasn't conducive to the side of the situation you wanted to land on, i.e., getting pulled from a game commentating. Wow. That's one game. We don't know how many times. We know that Indiana had a 20-something game TV deal before they got Caitlin.
Okay.
So there's quite a few times that you were supposed to be somewhere talking that you might not be able to talk no more because we were showing Caitlin more next year.
One has to live with the decisions they make.
Own up to it. Don't show me no DMs. Keep it real. Because you can still wind up on the right side of history if you just be honest about what your issues are, and we could just figure it out.
True. But how many people can even be honest with themselves?
Oh, man. Especially when you've been a star athlete your whole life. Yeah. Trust me, I know him.
I love him. It kind of reminds me of that story of the Dream Team and that famous game they played.
Oh, at practice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Magic just would not relinquish his top of the mountain of the NBA until Michael whooped his tail
and took it
and came back and said it's the new sheriff in town.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of that. So,
you know what's funny about that story? Kobe tried to do the same thing, and so did Kyrie. Remember when Kyrie challenged Kobe, and Kobe said, "Did you ask your dad about this?" So I think you should ask your pop first, man. But like, no, that's what them dogs do. Yeah, the dog gonna come get it.
Yeah,
they gonna take it.
And here's my thing: we, as a people, got to do better in bridging the gaps between the generations, whether it's football, baseball, hip hop,
chess,
basketball, whatever. We have to do a better job in bridging the old and the new.
We gotta be like martial arts out here.
You can always learn something from these young kids, and they can learn a lot from you. But if both parties are closed-minded, we'll keep going through the same thing we're going through now,
and we'll keep discrediting each other, because
Absolutely.
That's ultimately what happens. Them old heads don't care about us, man. Them young niggas don't listen. Like, yo, that's not true. That's not true. Nah. There has to be a common ground. You know why? Because we have more in common than we don't. Well, like you say, the advantages might have changed. The adversities might have shifted a bit, but y'all live in the same ghetto. You got that your grandma grew up in.
Can I tell a quick story?
Let's do it.
God bless his soul. My man Chris, back in my label days, I had an artist. Stayed in trouble. Well, when I left Philly, I used to always come home, and so one day I ran into him. And he was signed to Universal. And he asked me to manage him. I said, Chris, I don't do that no more. And he said, well, listen, I'm with Universal now, and if you ever need something, I got you, because you're the only one who act like you gave a damn. And what that taught me is, these kids feel like don't nobody care. So why should they?
And when you're talented, the only adults that seem to care a lot of times for them are people that can gain from their talent.
Trying to eat off of them.
Yep. If you 6'5", everybody want to coach you.
That's
but
one
you know
of the
that.
reasons I like to fall back. All the way back.
Yeah, I get it. But you a real one, and he seen it in you. You ain't never had to make that call, though, huh?
Nah.
But it's there. It was there. Nah. You trusted.
He passed away like 5 years ago.
But you trusted him when he said that was genuine.
Oh yeah, I knew it was.
That's
because
all that matters.
He went to school with my son, so he was always in my house. And I always used to sit down and try to
pick his brain.
Ain't nothing waiting for you but a court date or a casket. What do you want to do? I've always been like that when it comes to our younger people. There's nothing out there but a court date or a casket. Choose.
He was talented, but he was on paper.
He was on paper. He just could not leave the streets alone. Sadly, a lot of our younger kids are in that position. But back to the subject that we was talking about, if the older generation could build a bridge to the younger generation, and the younger generation will walk across that bridge that we build, it'll be a little bit more peace and harmony. Instead of Sherryl fighting the system, pass the torch. Let me tell you about my experiences. Here's the traps of the WNBA. They're just starting to do it for the NBA.
Bro, what I say? You seen it in the NBA.
They're just starting to do it where they're getting finance classes and this and different things where
it's mandatory.
The young and the older generation's business. Because look, I like Anthony Edwards, but look at that simple ass comment he made.
I just was listening to Paul George and his pop talk about that earlier.
Come on, dog. Here's my thing. Respect the people who opened the doors so you can be where you're at. Because you don't know what Dr. J had to go through. You don't know what Larry Bird and Magic Johnson had to go through.
I don't think people Anthony Edwards' age realized that the crossover as they know it was a travel. One of the moves that they get away with.
What is
most
that,
of their moves are
double the three. When they take, that's 3 steps.
That's 3 steps.
They take 3 steps back.
And they get extra step to the court. They call it a Euro step. None of this was legal when Mike was playing. Most of the time Kobe was playing, it wasn't legal.
No, not at all.
You gotta realize that you can say skilled player, but you're looking at certain things like, oh, I would have just did this. If you'd have did that as a turnover.
First of all,
it was a turnover.
Not only that,
it's called hot dogging.
You would have got laid out.
Yep.
Bill Laimbeer would have laid you out.
They were allowed to.
Bob Lanier would have laid you out.
It'd have been a regular foul.
Maurice Lucas would have laid you out.
No flagrants.
They had teams back then had enforcers.
Enforcers like hockey.
You come through this middle if you want to. See what happened.
Yep. And them boys was coked up. They ain't care about nothing. Kay, where you at with it?
I was about to ask you if you wanted to stick with sports or if you wanted to move into something else.
Let's tackle this Kamala Harris interview.
Oh,
let's tackle that.
Straight to politics. I like it.
The OG takeover.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, let's go straight there.
I like it.
All right.
Shout out to my coworker, Ms. Wyatt, who made the shirts the next day with a comma and a lie on them after the little girls did their thing at the DNC. After the nieces said, and they said comma like in a sentence, and they said lie like la la la. I know somebody that the next morning showed up to work with a comma and a lie on a shirt and probably went platinum off them already. So shout out to you.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right. So Kamala did her first official interview as part of her campaign, something that a lot of Republicans had been criticizing for a long time, that she hadn't done an interview, and something that a lot of Democrats and moderates were looking for her to speak more towards issues, talk about her policies, and for somebody to be coming at her with direct questions. So Tim Walz was also present for the interview. The interview itself was on CNN, which is seen as a friendly platform for the Democrats. That being said, the interview itself was met with a lot of mixed reviews depending on who you talk to. A lot of Democrats thought that the interview was successful and she did a good job of explaining some of her policy stances. Republicans, on the other hand, often tended to differ and thought that she was messy with her words and stumbled on a few occasions. So let me start by asking you guys what you thought of the interview itself.
Bullshit. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to get this disclosure.
Disclaimer.
Or disclosure, that works too.
I call the Republicans the Republican, and I call the Democrats the Decepticons. Let me break it down. When the power of love overcome the love of power, then things can change.
I like that.
Part of the problem is we have people that love power and they don't give a damn about the people.
That's facts.
And they will do anything and say anything to keep power.
Yep.
I've been around through Johnson, Nixon, Carter, Ford, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Trump, Obama, and the poor has not gained an advantage. Period. So when that camera comes on, far as I'm concerned, with her, it's like camera's action. Because even though she has some good in her record, she has a lot of bad. And I don't necessarily agree with one party over the other, because I'm conservative about some things and I'm liberal about other things. And it's, for me, it's, what are you going to do to help poor people? Not black people, not white people, not Hispanic people. Poor people. What are you going to do? And for me, she did not address anything in the realm of helping poor people.
I want to push back on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the first question that was actually asked of her was, what does she plan to do as some of her first initiatives? And her response was directly about, quote unquote, the middle class. She specifically pointed to, hold on, let me find my notes. She specifically pointed to a new family's tax credit for folks who have young babies to get larger income tax credits. She also mentioned pushing back on large corporations with price gouging to create savings at the grocery store that amount to $3,000 a year for the average family.
As opposed to the opposite in taxes that's proposed by the other side.
Yeah, and those are just two of the immediate policies that she directly pointed to.
Let me pose my question.
Go ahead.
A lot of her, and I'm not, I ain't fighting for nobody, but a lot of her messaging has been about maintaining and improving the middle class. I know that you said at the beginning of what you said that it's lights, camera, action. So what you're ultimately saying is you don't believe that. Because if that is true, if she really believes that, then that helps the poor directly. Because she's talking about moving people up and maintaining a middle class that the opposite side actually wants to maintain their friends.
Okay.
who are not poor at all.
For me.
Never been poor.
Middle class ain't poor.
No, but if I take you from poor to middle class,
okay,
which strengthens the middle class.
What are you going to do to get me from being poor?
Which was the points that she said. That's why I'm asking you, is it that you don't believe the points? Because she did give examples of that.
Okay. I just don't have confidence in our political process.
So like a trust.
Okay.
Because every 4 years you hear the same thing.
Every 2 years. They start campaigning way before.
We still get the same results.
I think that's fair.
I think
so that's where I'm coming from, because I'm a little older, so I've seen it. It's like it's like the same song. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Now, this is my opinion. On a city level, you might be able to hold politicians more at bay, so to speak, or you might be able to hold them to what they say and what they do. But once you get towards the government, it's now corporate. So, yeah, I have all these ideas. I want to do all that. But I'm beholden to this joker who just donated $5 million to my campaign. So I gotta give him something.
Which is my problem with politics exactly.
So I just don't have the confidence in anything they say. Whether it's her, Trump, Biden, I just don't have confidence in them giving up they love of power, because they can't do anything without the Congress and the Senate behind them, and they are never on one accord.
No, because the leverage is always in one favor on one side and one favor on the other side, depending on who's in office and what's going on. Yeah,
but that goes back to my original point. They love power more than they love people. Say me and you have a disagreement on how to get something done. We should be able to meet and say, let's find common ground.
Can I do you one better? If me, you, and a terrier have a disagreement on something and we ask for them to solve it, they're going with the terrier.
Yeah.
And that's what we know as black men, right?
Exactly.
So I understand where you're coming from on that, but I also understand that in business and politics, especially in things that are public knowledge, when something becomes egregiously dominant in a way that's not fair,
okay,
an extreme overcorrection has to come afterwards just to make things meet in the middle, right? So if traditionally certain things were promised and they didn't come to fruition because these people got in a position where they got in office and it was business as usual, and we got to stick to the agendas that was laid out before you got here, you can't make any original thought until your second term, which is what we're used to, right? This time we're in a unique position where January 6th actually happened, where Roe v. Wade getting demolished actually happened, where there are extremes that are putting fear in people that never thought they would say the words out of their mouth that they would vote for a Democrat. Because, Republicans ain't allowed to say that publicly. People do what they want behind them curtains.
I understand that. I posed the question. Because I've been hearing it for a lot of my adult life. As far as voting. Well, you have to pick the lesser of the two evils.
No, I don't like that.
And my point to that is, why should we have to choose evil, whether it's greater or lesser?
Which is fair, because for the last 4 elections, if I remember correctly, it's been nobody really wants either one of you motherfuckers, but this person is worse according to my values than this person.
Now,
but everybody votes their pocketbook anyway.
And
regardless.
Not enough people vote in primaries.
But I think the difference also with this is a time where when Hillary ran, she the one that white women voted for, right? But when
I disagree.
She would have. She had a lot of votes.
Let me tell you something.
She had the majority, right?
Even though she
lost the what's her name?
She lost the electoral.
The electric, yeah.
She lost the electoral.
I said electric.
But
40% of white women didn't vote for her
because people just didn't outright like Hillary.
Correct.
That's true, but what I'm saying is, I forgot my original point. I think.
And you got to remember the totality of that whole thing.
Oh yeah, this was my original point. It's not about whether she was liked or not. A large percentage of those women that, for whatever reason, wouldn't vote for her are not going to let you cut off IVF. They're not going to let you control their bodies. And now their husbands, and a lot of husbands, especially, in those communities, they vote their wives' fucking choices because they don't pay. They go to work every day. She watches the shows every day and figures out what makes sense and what fits our taxes and our budget. So a lot of that is going on too, which makes the whole process of lesser of two evils way more distinguished now.
Okay. I think she will win.
But you don't trust her.
I don't trust not near another.
I'm not mad at you not trusting her.
I don't trust near another politician because what I have seen. Now, maybe it goes back to generational. But when it comes to politicians, it's, I want to hear what you're talking about. Show me what you can do.
Well,
and if you can get past the Senate, then you got a shot. See, I don't pay the presidential election too much mind because it's the midterms that matter.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If you can get a Democratic president, here's where I believe she can do good. It's not all bad with me and Kamala.
I wanted you to finish that one, but go ahead.
But I am.
All right.
If she can get a Democratic Senate and Congress behind her, I believe she can do more of what she wants to do.
They would have to expand the Supreme Court.
I say demolish it.
They would have to do something about the Supreme Court because he planted too many seeds in it.
Here's what I think. A justice should only be able to get a certain amount of time.
Not a lifetime. Why would you serve any position
because
guaranteed for a lifetime? We just went through that. She wouldn't get a seat up.
But why would she?
She couldn't stay awake.
But if they got a certain amount of time and rotated, that would be cool with me too.
But I think that should be all politicians.
Yeah.
I think that being a career politician is a negative thing in this country, the way that this country is set up. I think you're adhering to too many things by the time you get to a certain point, or you have to do too many things to get to that point based on the same things you were saying. It becomes corporate, and now you're adhering to what you owe this person and this and the third. I think that comes from going from congressman to mayor to senate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that you accumulate so many bodies that's attached to your run at that point that it makes it like, what's your agenda? So I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that.
America is a corporation.
It's always been a corporation.
And
they sell drugs too.
We're the biggest drug dealers out.
Sell drugs.
It's crazy when we talk about that because I watched the interview. I think I was maybe 23 or 24.
So like 5 years ago.
And it was Maya Sugar Lansky, better known as Maya Lansky. And he said, you know why they want to get rid of what they call the mafia is because
Jesus, who's that?
They want to get their hands on the rackets. Now, let's take a look at the rackets. The lottery used to be illegal. It was called the numbers. Right? Got their hands on that. You have casinos all over the place. So they got their hands on gambling. You got FanDuel. You got all these apps. Instead of heroin, they get paid off the Oxycontins. And once they burn you out, now the low-level street dealers can have you. So we're the biggest drug dealers now. So
you skip something.
A part of that.
You skipped Oliver North and the Contras. They had heroin.
They had heroin. They had. I'm talking about drugs in general.
Okay.
Right. So now they got the drug dealer. So they're drug dealers. So they got the drug market. They really, what is that word? Part of the RICO Act, where they get you all, where they get a lot of people at. What's that word? Racketeering. They really force you into their way of taking money, which is called taxes. So that will be considered racketeering.
It's a racket.
So why I don't trust the government? Plus, of the things I've seen far as Tuskegee experiment, smallpox experiment, the COINTEL probe, the same thing you was talking about, the Oliver North Contra. I just don't have faith in them. Even though we're one of the greatest countries to live in, we still need a lot of work. But I don't dislike Kamala Harris.
You don't trust her.
Yeah.
You don't trust her. That's nothing wrong with that, bro. You good.
But let's flip the script.
Right.
Your boy is just an idiot. I'm sorry, I hate to offend y'all, but if he was more articulate, because I do not disagree with all of what he says, if he wasn't such a racist and he knew how to articulate better, he would be a problem for her.
But right now he's representing everything that he was saying that Joe represented when Joe was still a part of it. He's mumbling, he's rambling, he's incoherent, he's going off script. He's doing all of the things, but it just so happened that Joe dropped out, which we thought was impossible to even get traction from.
Because, one, he's not giving up power. Two, he wasn't ready. Three, he's running desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
That goes against all of what at least a lot of black men consider his strengths. We know that he's the most lying motherfucker on air. So all this he tells the truth shit went out the window. We thought he was so strong, and they even made him look more powerful after he got shot at, and now he looks weak again. Like, all of these things go against the strong suits that a lot of people in our community actually thought he held. And once they realized that he wasn't the one that approved them $2,500 checks, he just put his name on them after fighting against y'all getting them, they would get off of that bandwagon too.
Here's my thing with him.
Senate gave y'all them checks, by the way. They fought him.
At the end of the day, we know what he stands for.
Yep.
We know how malicious he is.
He already told y'all he want to spend the first 24 hours in office.
Here's my thing. How could people in power even consider after what happened on January 6th? This is how desperate some people are willing to go to hold on to power.
Back to power over people, right? Mm-hmm.
You'll rather cause a mass riot and insurrection, as they call it. Like, when I saw it, I'm like, well, if those black people, they'd be dead already.
Yep.
I said it.
Yep.
And I stand on it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm going to stand on.
But all the people that was running over causing the insurrection was the same people that got mad when somebody kneeled against a flag. The same people that get mad when we say we need to reform the police. They was beating up cops and giving a fuck about a flag and beating them with flagpoles.
Okay, here's my...
So that's amazing.
Here's my rebuttal to that.
I'm listening.
Me and the guy, we had a nice talk. Real patriotic cat.
What does that mean, bro?
Hold on.
After January 6th, what does it mean to be a patriot?
Hold on.
Because it looked different then.
Real patriotic.
A lot of these dudes wearing flags that's different colors and upside down at these parades
What I said was this. What that flag mean to you might not mean to the next man. Because look at the guy who had an uncle who served in the military, who came home and was hung because he was a lieutenant in the army.
Yep.
So why would that flag mean anything when my uncle went in fought and died, came home wearing his army green suit with his patches all on it, and they hung him for it? Why would I stand for that?
I don't listen. I'm not talking about.
You know what he said?
Uh-huh.
I never thought about it like that.
I understand that point. That's the side I stand on. What I'm talking about is the same exact. You know how people say the same people that say this, say that, and it don't be the same people. It's like, no, the other people are speaking up now. The same exact people that said Kaepernick deserved to get out of the NFL and be hung for kneeling for a flag attacked the flag and the democracy and everything attached to it and beat up a bunch of cops while doing it. The same people that was getting mad when we was protesting for George Floyd, and when he pulled what he pulled in front of the White House with the protesters, and they was riding with it. They're the same ones that was putting cops in comas and got cops to committing suicide. We lost a lot of officers that was not even regular cops. They wasn't protecting the city. They not the ones that we like, yo, they should be from the neighborhood so they understand. They the ones that was protecting what y'all say y'all fight for. Y'all patriots. And how many of them were military and former or current officers?
So, since you want to talk about January 6th so much,
let's get into the gala.
Why don't you introduce the topic?
Please explain the gala to me.
I can't. This was your topic.
So, Trump on, what is it, Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah. No, it's actually at the New Jersey.
It's in Jersey.
Golf club.
I want to hear this.
He's having a January 6th gala. He's honoring. He's honoring people.
Oh.
While trying to separate himself from the narrative of he incited that, which he's currently still on trial for it to some extent, right? Still waiting to go to court for it. And then on top of that, he made a statement and said, they're mad at me for challenging the election like I didn't have the right to.
So here's the full story.
Okay, come on, Kate.
So the golf course is hosting this event. However, Trump's campaign denies Trump's affiliation and says that Trump was not going to attend the event. However, the event itself is a fundraiser for Capitol riot defendants. So basically to pay their legal fees and their bail and shit like that for the charges stemming from January 6th being hosted at his golf course in Jersey. You can't make this up.
While he's still awaiting trial for election interference.
Yes.
You know why? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Absolutely.
Well, and he continues to double down on the idea that if this coming election does not go in his favor, he still will challenge it.
And he has a bunch of people in position in a lot of states that may not qualify the election.
I have already heard him say it'll be a bloodbath if I lose. What kind of sane person, one, would make that statement? Two, why would you even want somebody in power like that?
Am I allowed to say it on YouTube, yo? No, like, because
well, TikTok is already telling me that our live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable.
All right, well, we just going to keep going with it. Yo, y'all ever think 2025, 2026, you see a civil war?
I think it's possible.
I think if things don't go, and it's looking like, one, the Supreme Court is going to do something funny, too, that he has states that are going to pull they little plays as far as qualifying or saying whether the votes is legitimate or whatever have you. We are dangerously close to something that you couldn't even fathom 5 years ago. Even with him being in office and acting crazy, you couldn't fathom how close we are. But guess what?
If she beats him in a landslide, he has no leg to stand.
But that's the thing. They're at that point where she kind of has to. They're only popping up in the main states that's going to make they're in Georgia, they're in Pennsylvania, they only going to the places that can make a difference now. Cause that what y'all call it?
Electoral. I
don't understand that either. Can somebody get rid of that? I understand it actually. Last year I watched 5 people explain it to me on CNN, MSNBC, whatever have you. Like, you know how they break it down when it's that time. And I'm like, I get it, but it seems like it's outdated.
Here's the thing.
It seems like the last control on democracy.
It is. It is, because when you look at some of his actions,
because they change how many points you get every year.
They are
votes
trying to shift back to the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
we closer than we ever been in my lifetime.
Have to unify, organize, and strategize.
You all Black Panther. I heard that.
Plain and simple.
You all Black Panther. Because I heard that.
What I saw on January 6th, they're coming.
I ain't seen a movie that interesting in my life.
Well,
think about that day. You
right.
watch that all day.
Okay. All right. So,
and I'm not saying in a good way. I'm saying like that was something that they have created the ultimate ways that this country or earth has disintegrated. And we did not think that it would be something so ridiculous. And so many variables.
It's ridiculous to us. Let me play devil's advocate.
We always thought it'd be an alien.
They're looking at it like, and not all white people.
No, the people.
But the people who think like that is looking like we're losing our country. And some people want their country how their grandfathers and their grandfathers' fathers had the country. And the acceptance of the, LBGT, whatever, the acceptance of the migrants has pushed them further over the edge.
You know what the solution is? Families need to stop lying to each other. Tell them that your grandma had some black slammer too. It wasn't always what you thought it was. Tell them that your grandpa wasn't a prominent businessman. He was a bootlegger. He sold dope too. Tell them all of that. And then maybe they had some empathy for other motherfuckers that either don't look like them or got to do something to get by.
How about this?
Stop lying to your family. Stop sending the pregnant teenagers down south and acting like it ain't happening.
How about educate our people? How about educate us on different cultures? How about letting us know truth and not being punished to speak truth to power?
Right.
How about upgrading the school books and educating, especially with African Americans that contributed to this country of ours?
Well, they have been taking all the books that really tell the truth out of all the states that don't want us to speak truth to power.
Yeah, but also we as parents have to teach our children.
No, you have to indoctrinate your children with this shit.
I know when my kids were young and they would say, I'm bored. All right, go read a book and then give me an essay. You don't remember that? Ask Aaliyah. Ask Aaliyah.
They got away with murder, yo.
Ask your sister Aaliyah.
She probably wouldn't come over to you to hear you.
Also, when you... Do you remember this? One of y'all had some kind of book report, and I challenge y'all to tell your teacher to write about the Tuskegee experiment. And instead of a hero, instead of Martin Luther King, write about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That was probably the deal. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't remember that.
All right, so we gonna get you checked out, get you a CAT scan.
Next topic.
He ain't making this up. He ain't making this
topic.
Up.
We
No,
get
but
too
good
many
talk.
people uncomfortable here.
No, good talk, pops. Good talk, pops. I don't want. It was something you was excited to get to, so I wanted you to get your rocks off. Man.
All right.
No doubt.
Where are you trying to go next?
We gotta do something fun now.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the astronauts.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the astronauts. All right. So, to fill in those of you who have not been following along, back in June, a spacecraft went up with these two astronauts who are pictured here, Americans from NASA. I had to make that clear because there are other countries going to space. So NASA sent these two up into space, and they docked at the International Space Station, but something went wrong with their spacecraft.
It was Boeing.
Yes, it was the first Boeing spacecraft, and of course something went wrong with it.
All right. They
So-
can't even
That
fix
helps,
a plane.
So, they have been stranded since June, and what was supposed to be a 2-week round trip is now going on 2 months with no clear end in sight. And so the next step in their recovery process was to send their spaceship back home on autopilot so that it could be tinkered with the NASA engineers on the ground here, so then they could send it back up to them to get them and return them back home. That's the plan. So, the spacecraft was set to return to Earth on autopilot again, and that was supposed to leave on this coming Friday, I believe. As of today, well, yesterday, they started getting reports that they were hearing strange noises coming from the spacecraft. And now they have been docked on the International Space Station, so they are not actually in the spacecraft itself, but they are close enough to it that it is docked at their station, so they can hear everything that's going on in there. And out of nowhere, right before it's about to go back on its journey, they start hearing these strange noises. So of course, NASA has to investigate. And then we hear reports that just came out today that NASA is now saying that the flight is going to go on as scheduled, and that the strange noises that the astronauts were hearing was merely speaker feedback. Like the same way that if I put my mic next to my headphones right now,
it will squeak.
That's what they said that they were hearing because they turned on the communication systems in order to start the autopilot sequence to get the spacecraft back home. Now, me personally, knowing what I know about electronics, yes, feedback is possible. Do I think that that is the plausible actual reason for whatever it is that they heard? No. I think that this is bullshit. I think that I'm very interested to see if this spacecraft is able to make its return flight. And even if it does make its return flight, if they're able to actually schedule a rescue mission on that same aircraft. If all of that happens, I will be astounded. I think what's more likely is some other country is going to have to come in and swoop in for the rescue and take our two folks home with them the next time somebody was planning to go up to the International Space Station as it is. But what do you guys think about this whole situation and the feedback explanation?
I think, like, you went from the beginning and you went to the latest. But in between, wasn't there competition supposed to send a space shuttle up there to rescue them? And that was supposed to be in, like, February?
I think SpaceX offered to send a private shuttle up.
A private shuttle. What are we talking about, yo? Like, this is crazy. So the alternative, like, we either going to trust something from a company that has proved in the last 3 years that they aren't as trustworthy as they used to be at building things that are aerodynamic. We're going to trust that something that already sounds faulty is going to get them back, or we're going to have to wait till Russia go up there and get them from Russia?
China? Yeah,
because if they go to Russia, we ain't getting them back.
Yeah.
We're going to have to negotiate.
Maybe.
Like, I'm confused, man.
Well, maybe when
how does this work?
Artemis 2 does its fly around the moon, they can swing by the International Space Station and pick our folks up in 2025.
Yo, send a drone. Like, what are we doing, man? Private shut. Like, what's happening, yo? They trying to leave black people on Earth, man. All this is a distraction. Wrong hand. Yeah, that's my conclusion. What you think, Pop?
Very peculiar times. Because, one, like you said, why would you even trust Boeing?
Right now. And I got family that did years at Boeing and fuck them right now.
Politics, exactly what you talked about earlier.
Number two,
contributing to campaigns.
If my
all
car,
them damn tags break. Never mind.
If my car is broke, and I'm stranded on 95, and somebody offered to come get me, you think I'm going to turn that down? So, that's suspect. We caught in a TV series, Lost in Space.
Don't send my car back to get me.
Yeah.
Right, don't take my car to the shop
why it ain't another shuttle?
send it back.
They don't got another shuttle? They had to
I'm
fix
blown away.
That's crazy.
I'm just blown
Well,
away.
if you think about it,
by the whole
NASA hasn't
situation.
done that many manned missions in the last 50 years.
We just been sending shit up.
Yeah, sending unmanned shit up. So we
but that
don't
was the
have
thing.
other shuttles
in the
to just send out
beginning of
there.
all of that, we were getting better video. We were able to go in certain climates and geographies, I guess, that we weren't able to go in.
Right.
But all of that was setting a precedent that people were afraid of because of stuff like this. Like, you get too comfortable doing that. And what are we looking for? How much of what you going to see up there affects what's going on down here more than the motherfucker that'll cause a January 6th right?
Well, gotta look at everything that's going on. And
Ooh, this transitions to the next topic.
once you start playing in the heavens, ain't nothing good gonna come from that. That's just my spiritual side telling me that. We don't have no business up there. So nothing good is gonna come out of it anyway. And if y'all think y'all gonna leave black people down here on Earth, y'all crazy.
Yeah, we'll build a joint. We build submarines in third world countries and get
I can see
3,000
somebody
pounds
with an
over it.
SUV with spinners going
on their way, man. You got
Like,
TV
yo.
shows about it. We showed
What?
y'all back in the day. Homeboys in outer space.
You better believe it.
Think we tripping. We with y'all. And we know how to I sneak into the motherfucking luggage bin. I'm good. This happened before. Man done mailed himself out of slavery before. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Crazy. We gonna be right up there with y'all. Guess what's gonna happen? We gonna populate. We gonna help y'all populate. Say thank you.
How did this go so left?
It's fun. It's Pops. Pops be on my timing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you two.
But
You
Yeah,
two together
man.
is interesting.
let's get into Ford. Because this is a good transition to Ford. Because he talking about playing in the heavens. All we get from up there that we know of is pictures. All these satellites is doing is taking pictures that we know of, right? But we know it's global warming going on down here. That's being denied, right?
Yeah.
We know that all the seasons is shifting.
But
All the disasters are picking different coasts to visit now.
all right, so what's going on with Ford?
Let's talk about Ford.
All right, so Ford
See my transition here?
recently announced that they are taking a step back from the large investment that they've recently made into production of electronic vehicles.
Because they think Trump getting back in office. Oh, my bad.
Instead, they are going to revert one of their manufacturing plants that they recently converted into an electronic vehicle plant back into focusing on internal combustion trucks specifically. So your typical F-150, that type of vehicle.
F-350, yeah.
So, with that in mind, I wanted to juxtapose the fact that our government has been talking about trying to invest in more electronic vehicle infrastructure. If you've never driven an electronic vehicle, I personally have not. But from what I can hear from everybody who talks about them, you have to charge it like every 2.5 hours, depending on where you're going. So if you're driving on a trip to a wedding, for example, you have to stop halfway through the wedding trip to charge your vehicle. And you have to plan your entire trip around where those charging stations are, because once you get out of the East Coast region or the West Coast in California, there really are not many public charging stations to be found.
And you don't know where that gas station is going to land you. It's like an Airbnb. You might wind up sitting somewhere for an hour and a half. You shouldn't be sitting for an hour and a half.
Straight like that.
So, with those two things in mind, how does this Ford announcement, does this make sense to you? Is this something that you expected? And do you think that other car manufacturers are going to follow suit?
I think that this is politics again. And it's weird, and I know y'all didn't hear it. Okay, you heard it?
Agreed.
Because what's happening is, it's 2 points, right? Ford has been known as what since the 70s? Found on the road dead. How many acronyms is it for Ford?
Yeah, found on the road there.
That's not positive, right? You know what never gets backlash from Ford? F-150, F-250, F-350. They make the best pickup trucks for working pickup trucks. Like, they're ahead of the curve. They're consistent. They last long. That is the thing that Ford has perfected. Now, who uses pickup trucks?
Rednecks.
What is your audience if you sell pickup trucks?
Blue collar white men.
They don't want that electric vehicle shit.
No, they do not.
Even though she said on average maybe 2.5 hours you have to charge up. A lot of the technology is advanced to the point where if you have a sophisticated or you spend some money on your it's not 2.5 hours, but it's still not convenient. And a lot of those companies will not give you a charging station at your house unless this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of variables to that, including possibly where you live at, and it might not even be able to power that shit from there.
But I do think that they really need to invest more in charging stations and better electronic vehicles. Possibly
that's based on vehicle turnover.
Gas is almost done.
That's what I'm saying. So the more electric cars,
but if they keep inching towards it, I understand why they might have went back, because we're not there yet, and we may be losing money. So I can see where I'm going back, and when y'all figure this shit out, we'll start going back to electric cars. That part I get. However, with this election coming up, they're going to see who wins, who loses, because we are beholden to several companies: gas, tobacco, pharmaceuticals, so on and so on. We're indebted to these kind of companies.
Big tech.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah,
you're
big
right.
tech. And I know because I work for a bank, and I work in the corporate office.
Right.
And what I see on a daily basis, it's like, okay, I understand this now. I understand that now. I understand about the secrets that we don't know. And when I kind of share it with people, they be like, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. Just do this and do that. I don't want to get too deep into it right now. But I can see where it would be political.
I think it's very political.
And then if the right person get in office, they going to stay with gas.
And they don't lose much because they're only doing it with their truck division, and that truck division is adherent to that culture.
Wow.
It's not like they opened a warehouse to do their whole thing. It was specific to their trucks.
Would you sell heroin on the crack block?
See what I'm saying? So, business-wise, it makes sense, but it's based on politics, and it's based on what they believe is about to happen, and they want to be on the right side of that before it happens. They'll get a kickback for already being efficient. Absolutely. In a way that's not necessarily, but you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But one thing I wanted to, because you are OG, and I'm sure you know about this, the government can also force it. You know what you have to do every couple years, depending on what state, when you driving your car? You have to get it inspected.
Emissions
in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania are not the same as they are in California. You could take your Philadelphia car to fucking California, get it shipped over there, it will fail. No, it's guaranteed to fail. They hold their cars to a higher standard
than we do. Yes, sir.
Because of smog, pollution, and all of that shit, and population, there's different standards, and that's in every state between here and there. They have their own range, right? So when it becomes law or it becomes a thing that the requirements to pass inspections are set at this level, everybody will have at least a hybrid. And if you don't have a hybrid, you will be forced to do what? Get a classic car tag.
And guess what?
Am I wrong?
Guess what, though? Some states are leaning more for electric cars.
Yep.
And some states are not.
I like hybrids.
I like hybrids too.
I like hybrids. They still weird me out because they feel like they cut off every time you hit the fucking brake, but it'd be like, you kind of get used to that.
Most new cars do that. I got a full gas car and
it feels weird, but that's energy saving. So I get it, but it feels weird.
Shout out DJ Most Hated.
Hate it.
He says salute Sammy.
My guy. That's my guy, man. Salute DJ Most Hated, and it's a grown man, but as far as DJs go, you would think he had 50 years in this shit. The way that he do what he do.
Nice.
Attention to detail. Hated one of them. I put him up against anybody under 50.
All right.
Anybody under 50. Hated one of them. He's going to rock the room. He's going to have fun, and he's going to blend and transition perfectly. I listen to transitions a lot. Everything ain't, you know, there's different. I know it's different levels of DJing, but when you good at what you do, I got a check for you, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Most Hated is one of the ones. If y'all don't know him, I'll tap y'all in with him. He's a goodie.
Need that.
He's a goodie. He's a goodie. We got good DJs on deck, man. We're blessed. I ain't gonna lie.
Absolutely.
It's very important in this game.
What's next, K?
You can't have a mixer without music.
Let's talk about some hip hop news.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So let's get the sad stuff out the way because we need to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
So prayers, condolences, and rest in peace to Fatman Scoop.
Yeah, man.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Prayers, condolences to his family, his friends, and everybody whose lives and careers that he's touched. You know, he's done a lot in this industry. If you don't know who he is, make sure you go look him up. But
Fatman Scoop, Brooklyn Clan. Oh my God.
go
man.
ahead. How y'all feeling?
Pops, I need you to speak to this because you, man.
You know what?
I know you know.
What's crazy is
You just met
me and Lay just personally met him in June.
Wow.
And
Lay, you just made
he
it.
he,
Yeah.
he was just
Came in late
so
to the cut.
down to earth,
He was going.
and he was so like willing to give advice and so genuine. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. He was so genuine, and when I heard it, even though we had just met him and we had a plug with him to eventually like try to get him on the project,
Yeah.
it was like wow. And he was still a young man.
Yeah, 56.
So
Was it 56?
I went to
57,
King
I
to
think,
rest
yeah.
well. He like Kay said, he's in a better place, man. He's not here dealing with what we dealing with on a daily basis. And Allah may have called him home so he can look over us. I was once asked, why is God calling all the good people home? And I said, because we need angels up here to look down and fight for us and protect us down here.
I swear.
So salute, soldier. Rest well.
Absolutely. I think my entire house party, grinding on women to adulthood, has had his influence on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was Chubb Rock, and then it was Fatman Scoop, like the voice of the party, right? Because Chubb Rock had a hell of a run with one song. 1990, Chubb Rock jumped up on the scene with a link. That played for years. Treat Me Right, was it called?
Treat Me Right.
And then Scoop he had the club bangers, and then he was sampled on all of your favorite joints for the energy. Yeah, he was the energy of the culture.
He was the hype man. He was the ultimate hype man.
And just what you just said, in the background, y'all can't really hear him, but Lay was speaking to it too. Like they just met him, and the same things that either one of them was saying about him is the same things I've been hearing since his passing. Is that similar to like Biz or somebody? Yeah, he was always willing to give up some energy and some opportunity and some jewels, and it was never overwhelming to him. He understood his purpose, and he understood his resources shouldn't die with him, even though that's ironic to say. One question that I have for K and OG and Pops is, we know how much he loved the sport, right? We know how much he loved the industry and the game, man. It seems bittersweet. There's a lot of people that would rather go out on stage. It's a lot of people that want to die on the field. I heard Oscar De La Hoya say that he had that one fight, and he was like, kill me now. Pacquiao fight.
But that's so, one of the first things I thought about, though.
Yeah, is that a thing?
Like,
is that selfish to think of that?
No.
I don't.
Go ahead, Kay. You go.
So, me personally, like,
because he collapsed on stage. For those that don't know,
right? Thinking about it from like his family's point of view, I don't think that you ever want to.
The question is not about his family's point of view. That's why I asked, was it selfish? Because the question is about, is it possible that was his preferred way to go out?
Can I answer now?
Yes. Because the family point of view was not the thing. I just want to be clear.
But one of the things that... Okay, so when you think about your own death, you don't think about how your family's going to feel? You can't separate that from you thinking about your own death. So I still feel like me saying how his family felt is valid.
A lot of people... Well, can you address my question before you go to his family? That was part of my thought generation of getting to the... Never mind. Go ahead, Sam. I don't even want to answer your question anymore because I can't answer it. No, because, see, you don't want to answer it that way. But you can literally tell me, yay or nay, if you think that it's possible that this man will rather go out on the field.
No.
Because his family felt that he wouldn't want to?
Because I don't think anybody wants their family members finding out from other people or having to go through that sort of heartbreak of, oh my God, he collapsed on stage and the shade room running with it.
And I understand that makes sense.
That part I get.
But I also gave examples of people who have gone or have thought they were going, and the fact that they have admitted that was how they wanted to go out. So that's not family based. That's why I said when I said it to Pops, I asked Pops, I said, is that selfish? Because he said he had the same thought too.
I think that...
And it can be selfish. These are people that have been stars for a long time. Fatman Scoop been lit longer than he wasn't.
Here's what I think. When I first heard the news, of course we were sad and
absolutely,
condolences to his family.
Always.
I thought maybe he went out doing something he loved. Like,
I think that's cool for you to rationalize it like that if that makes you feel better, but I don't necessarily want to put that thought process on him posthumously. I think that's disrespectful.
No, that
because
would
we don't
be
know for sure that we've never heard a quote of him saying like, I want to die doing what I love. Like,
no,
we don't know that. So for me to just put that on him posthumously feels weird. I understand where you're coming from though.
But you wouldn't be putting that on him because I posed the question, and I also posed it not as confirming what he wanted. I just asked if that was possible, and I don't think that that's disrespectful.
The realm of possibility is not
infinite,
out,
always.
It's not out the way.
But I think that, and I based it on a lot of things. Like I think that when we keep reiterating, we get away from all the examples that I gave of what he's done with his legacy and where he spent his time. He's had a family for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time. This man has been on stage he died on stage.
No, I don't think he died when he collapsed.
He collapsed
on.
I don't think my apologies. I don't want to misrepresent.
And I think that's where Kate is saying is that because of his collapse, you got the world we live in where they don't care if it's long as they're first. We live in I don't care if it's true. I don't care who it hurts. Long as I'm first.
Okay.
So I understand exactly where she's coming from with that. Because I have friends who knew him personally that I called. And they was like, we ain't hear nothing yet. When we hear something, we'll let you know.
When the collapse was announced.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people were already posting R.I.P. and it wasn't even official.
Yeah.
So I get where Kate is coming from. Like K. I'm sorry, K.
It's okay.
I get exactly where she is.
He's drinking ginger ale, by the way.
Yes, ginger ale.
And that's exactly my point. Is we see stuff like that happen in this scenario every time, and because of that, like I don't think that knowing what little I do know about his personality, I don't think that that's what I don't feel right putting that choice on him or having that conversation about him and that choice.
So let's go left. Let's take it off of Fatman Scoop because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm trying to prolong anything.
Rest well, man.
Absolutely.
Rest well, King.
Please do, man. You gave us.
Look out for us down here.
I don't know how much you had planned to do, but you gave me enough. I ain't mad at you, bro. I'm not disappointed. I'm glad that you're in a better place. But in general,
okay,
we know that men, and I know my community, black men, don't like hospitals, doctors, and none of that shit, right?
The facts.
A lot of men in my community, especially men that have reached certain levels of things of prominence that the average person doesn't get to experience, Their ideal way to go out is not in a bed surrounded by family. It's not. It's just not. So I was just saying it from a perspective of somebody that thinks from that perspective, where it's like, man, listen, I don't want to be in no hospital bed trying to figure out who wiping my, you know what I mean? I don't want to be in hospice. I don't want my kids to have to take care of me. I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to die young either, because I want to see my grandkids grow. But if I'm going to go out, it's niggas that want to go out in some coochie. 78 years old.
What you saying? They want to come and go at the same time?
Motherfuckers want to go out with a bang, Pops. They want to go out
that
with a bang.
That motherfucker came and he went.
I take it. Boy, I take it. As opposed to be, and this is like, I saw my grandfather, one of the strongest people I ever met. I compare him to Martin Luther King for what he's done to his community and my family with a 4th, 5th grade education. He's done great things for a lot of people. And I saw him on his last day, hooked up to all type of stuff and pain the whole time, in and out of consciousness and all of that. Man, I don't want to go out like that, bro. I don't. As much as like the worst thing than getting old is not getting old, I don't want to get that bad off before I go. If yesterday y'all thought I was good and tomorrow something happened, it might sit better with me.
So I gotta interject here, because I want to point out the fact that simultaneously avoiding doctors is the quickest way to end up in that situation. And I know I'm not necessarily saying that just for you. I'm saying that because people need to hear that when we're having this conversation.
She said not necessarily saying that just for me, which means she is talking to me. But on top of that, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a great point. And in the last few weeks, we've lost more than just him to health related reasons. Like, we just shouted out somebody a week ago, and it's somebody else I can't remember right now, God forgive me, that just died of a heart attack, I believe, as a young man that's from the industry. But no, but what I'm saying is, you're absolutely correct about that, but I'm talking about the mindset of that man, that type of male. You see what I'm saying? Like, you saying that, I'll give you a perfect example. We'd have still had Heavy D if every hour and a half on that flight, he'd have walked back and forth to the bathroom. He died from a blood clot. And what we learned about aviation and men that's of a certain size and health was that they sleep the whole flight, they sit there the whole flight, and if they would actually get up and walk around. Within an hour and a half to 2.5 hour period, which these are guys that fly internationally and stuff, so they're on long flights.
And wear them compression
socks.
So
now we won't lose people, as many people due to that, because now if you're in that condition, your doctor is giving you the heads up of that. But that's something so simple we didn't know before. Right?
Yeah.
And you might have went to the doctor, but you caught a flight and your doctor didn't know.
Yeah. Well,
so it's like, it's so crazy that, you know.
I will say this.
But go to the doctor, please. And trust me, I got appointments lining up right now.
A lot of people are making more appointments, and it is getting better.
I'm at that age, I got to get a colonoscopy soon. Sheesh.
Do that.
Sheesh.
Do that. So.
You got one, OG?
I got to get one. I had one a while back, but I haven't had one in a while, so I got to go get one.
Well, I hear they're easier now than then, so if you did it before, you can do it again. I'm on your heels. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to be responsible with it, man. I gotta be. Grandma's still here. I can't go before
colonoscopies are good, but for African American men, prostate is
prostate
the
too.
one.
No, all of that. I'm on the list for. I'm 42. All of that is on the checklist right now.
Yep. And blood pressure, cholesterol. One of the number one killers of Americans to date is
you ain't gotta test my libido though. You know what I'm saying?
So make sure y'all get your hearts checked out. Heart disease is still the number one killer.
Oh man.
All right.
Diabetes.
Let's move on.
Can we talk about Fall TV, SEPTA, or Harlem? You pick.
Okay, let's talk about Fall TV.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, it's K topic. I love it.
Let's talk about Fall TV.
I love K topics. You good? Let me know.
All right, folks. So I got some real bad news for you. The Fall TV lineup has come out, and unfortunately, it is not looking great. If you look at network television only, the new shows and returning shows that are coming out are almost all either crime docs, police TV shows, doctor TV shows, or reality television.
Then you lit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be okay. But there's no new concepts, no standout new series to look forward to. Nothing that is really breaking the mold of where we've been, especially recently. So I wanted to point this out because there's been a lot of things happening in the TV world that I think are kind of compounding and all coming together in this moment. So you got to remember we had that writers and actors strike back then. Mm-hmm. We're also now talking, we talked earlier on the pregame show about the show Wednesday and how its last season was in 2022. Next season is planned for 2025. We know that Game of Thrones, Rings of Power, a lot of these fantasy shows especially are already running on 2-year production schedules. Mm-hmm. So TV shows in general, folks are waiting longer and longer in between each season for the series to come out. We also know that TV is now becoming a binge watch phenomenon where folks would rather have all of their TV dropped and in some cases will actually wait until every episode is available on a streaming platform before starting to watch the entire season.
Not that one, right?
So, with all of these things kind of in mind, I think that this is why network television especially is starting to die in terms of coming up with new concepts and putting actual money into TV. Because ultimately that's what this is indicative of. This is not that there is a lack of creative concepts. This is not that there is a lack of actors or writers who are willing to do TV. This is specifically a lack of the networks wanting to invest money especially in new TV concepts. So with that in mind, what do you guys think about the future of the genre of television in general, especially when you layer in the streaming platforms and where they have been doing, also slowing down their production schedules and scaling back in terms of investment in our long-standing TV shows?
First of all, I want to do this for you. You killed that.
To be fair, I did plan this topic for last week, and we didn't end up getting to it, so I had a little extra time.
No, I actually had a whole train of thought, and then you reminded me of the strike, and I switched everything. But, Pops, what you think?
I don't think it's creativity.
At all.
I just think it's a conglomerate, a combination of things. And streaming is at the top of the list, especially with the major networks.
Okay.
They're taking a hit because of all the different streaming platforms. And you have, the premium subscribe channels, the Stars,
right.
Showtime,
HBO.
HBO.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, as that expand, that other market is going to shrink. So I think that's what's going to make it shrink. I think also we rely too much on reality TV.
It's cheap to produce.
Yeah, but it's...
You don't have to pay the stars as much.
This is my opinion.
I hear you.
It's blackface.
A lot of it is.
It's blackface and it's cooning.
The reality TV that is aimed at our demo is blackface. Mm-hmm. But the reality TV is broad as hell.
I agree with that, but I'm talking about what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's naturally going to take a hit, especially when cable itself is taking a hit. A lot of people don't even have cable anymore because it's so much easier and cheaper to stream. My cable bill was what?
It was like $100 and something at one point in time.
It was like $178. I bought a Fire Stick. I streamed between that and the internet. I think I paid like $79 a month.
Big difference.
So you don't need the major networks like you did, and you can stream them as well. But when you got Stars and you got Showtime, I'm gonna give you an example. You got Showtime, they got The Shy, they got the best documentaries like Stand Up. You got Stars with the Power Universe and all the other different shows they have.
Which is enough hours a week for a lot of people.
And people like to binge watch. I'd rather just let the series go through so I can watch it all at once in a couple days. So why would I want to wait the next week to watch your show when I can just wait and watch it all later? So your ratings are going down because the night of the show, people are watching because they can't binge watch. It's my perspective.
I think it's a trickle-down effect. I think there was a time where movie stars didn't do TV, and then there was a time where TV started paying motherfuckers $1 million an episode, and TV started looking different. I think eventually that got to a point where we had the discrepancy that preceded the strike, which was a lot of these contracts, they wanted actors, extras and all of that to sign away their likenesses to be able to be reproduced in future things by AI, right? Then you get the strike. Now, something that happened before we were aware of the AI thing and the strike was major movie production budgets. Major movie production budgets disappeared. If you wasn't making a Marvel movie, you was making an indie movie. Everything in between, if you get a great cast, everybody went in for a price cut and a percentage of the film on the back end. And that's changed the game. You got people making series and movies with iPhones. That changed the game. Now, all of those things happened to where the value of certain things and what was willing to be invested in those shift. So the people at the top start looking at these actors and actresses like, we're not willing to adhere to none of that if you're not going to co-sign the AI thing that we want y'all to do, or the 360 deal that we want to put y'all in, so to speak. So then you wind up at a point where the strike lasted long. Who wasn't adhering to the strike? Actors, personalities that were not a part of SAG. So reality TV takes over. These people are personalities in their own right. They have Twitter, Instagram, social media platforms. We'll pay them. We'll shoot a bunch of stuff. You get a Zeus network. Right? Then you get Zeus. And now what's happening with Zeus? Them bad girls is telling them, y'all not paying us enough for the reunion, so I'm not coming. Their value is higher than a lot of rappers. They're asking for more than $50,000 an appearance.
Yeah.
So the tables have shifted. I think it's such an accumulation of so many things, but I think the main component is what happened at the top with the major features of the movies and the shift of who participates in whatever category and the adherence that you had to that, and then letting that strike happen and letting it drag out so long and the awareness of that, and then while y'all are fixing that, nobody was in production except Melissa Ford and never mind. But nobody else was in production that was a part of SAG.
I get you.
Because she's a part of the Canadian Actors Guild, and it's different. So that's why I used her as an example, just to be clear. I'm not trying to go viral. But, like, no, it's different. It's different. So I think that it's an accumulation of all those things, not to discredit anything that you said, but I think it ties into what you said.
Yeah, it definitely
in
ties
a lot of ways.
But that's the whole point of what you said and what I said. Is the conglomerate. Yep. Remember I said
the overarching force that says we don't need to pay you for something that we could probably manipulate if you dumb enough, or if y'all don't come together to fight against it. They're union busting in Hollywood.
And you got a lot of,
and they're trying to put somebody in office that's against unions. Anyway, Kay, what do you think?
So, I mean, I think that you guys both touched on great points. I don't disagree with anything that you brought up. I think it's worth adding that nowadays when we look to a new TV show and we want to call it a great TV show, there's a certain budget that is expected with that. I've mentioned Game of Thrones, House of Dragons before. Other HBO shows, it's different than the Power universe.
Or it has to be smartly filmed, which is a thing that costs too.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with the Power universe. I think, 50's done a great job creating a whole universe of shows.
Yeah, he got his own Marvel thing going.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
But it's not House of Dragons writing quality or production quality or budget.
Right.
And it's not talked about in the
Exactly.
same way and spheres of House of Dragons or a show of that caliber.
Right.
So nowadays, when we're talking about TV, it's no longer
There's no
a
middle.
budget saver in the way that it used to be in comparison to
Agreed.
a movie.
Agreed.
You have the same actors, but you're requiring a longer period of time. And now you're not having that guaranteed advertising revenue that comes in with it, because the one thing that used to keep us on TV, at least, was premieres of good shows. And now that that's dead, it was sports. But now, and I want to bring sports
I
into
remember
this
when it was Michael
conversation,
Jackson.
because we've also been talking about how sports and networks are all jockeying for different broadcasting deals when it comes to all of these different
Facts.
sports.
You about
And a
to
lot
lose
of those
inside there.
deals are going to streaming platforms.
Yep.
So now that ad revenue that our network television folks relied on is no longer
Oh, she killing
guaranteed
that
from
subject.
I told you she snapped
sports
out.
coming in for live TV. So I'm thinking specifically about TNT, who has lost a lot of sports broadcasting. And their lineup for fall TV is very light and honestly unoriginal. So they were one of the ones that I was really talking about when I brought this up. So I did want to bring the sports part of this conversation into the light as well.
Yeah, because without the NBA, Turner Network TV is dead in the water. I'm sorry to say it like that, but
They're dead in the water for the same reason that they lost the NBA, though. They not up on it.
Lack
They
of forward
late.
thinking.
They are late.
yeah,
They
yeah.
late.
Yeah.
Everything that they stand for is not what's going on right now. And then they want to try to sue in the back, and they're not going to win that.
Yeah, because you gotta be able to evolve, and if you don't evolve, especially with the times, and you're in that kind of industry, your life expectancy won't be but so long.
And they're diversified. They got all type of other things going on where they don't need. They could drop the network and still be billionaires.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But so
And they had a good run.
they had a hell of a run. But don't you miss the jingle though? Well,
Well, the season ain't started yet, so I don't miss it yet.
And we had it during the Olympics.
I'll tell you what.
It was back.
So who has the NBA now?
NBC, right? Ain't that NBC?
Yeah.
It's NBC.
But I believe that TNT finishes out this year.
Well, actually, the new NBA deal involves a lot of streaming platforms, networks.
Yeah.
People will have licensing to certain games, other games. It's,
So they did
it's
it like
chopped
they did
up.
boxing.
It's chopped up now. Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
did it like they did boxing.
new deal-
which I
and
don't
the new
understand.
and the new deal is forward thinking for what the next phase of things is, which is what Turner was not covering.
Okay.
The fact that they already have the market on the streaming shit and everything is going to be exclusive. Anyway, Pop's got a roll, so we got to talk about summer music session one more time.
Absolutely.
One more time.
Yes,
We
sir.
got to make sure that people heard us, man. Shout out to Lovely Lady. She been in the cut holding us down, communicating. You've seen her face a couple times when we put on the K-cam. Yeah, she's cute, but she don't like you.
But before I say that, shout out to Sam K. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that. September 14th, Harris Casino, Chester, PA. Pre-fashion show. It's going to be lit. It's
That
going to
part.
be epic. Get y'all weight up. Grab them tickets. You can get them on Eventbrite. You can use the QR code from the flyers. Please, please hit the Lovely Lady purchase link. We need those points. We got to get those points. Son, we already know he going to come shut it down. Doc and Moses.
That part.
Blessings. We know what DJ Cool going to bring to the table. But the best part is going to be the designers. Hustle Society, Deluxe Du Jour, PK, IYBO, Street Corner Fashion. Let's get it. Come out, enjoy yourself, have a good time, have some drinks, sit under the
Fireworks.
outdoor patio deck.
Oh.
Watch the fireworks. Listen, where can you see a fashion show, fireworks, and a concert for $25?
Man, that's me.
$25.
That's me.
Come get your weight up. Come on out. Come help us celebrate. Come help us have a good time. And we're going to keep moving and grooving.
That part in that order.
Lovely Lay Beats.
Yup.
Getting ready to come out with some new fire with the Real Savage Princess. September 21st coming out soon. We're going to start working on her project coming out. Fly High. First Love Yourself. And Hustle in God's Honor. Yeah. That part. Yes. For all you rappers, R&B singers, she one of those.
Absolutely.
She one of those.
I swear.
Come check her out. Come get in the studio with us. And we're going to line you up with that track to make you a superstar.
I heard
We
that.
got Sam behind us. We got Son behind us. We got the right people in Philly behind us. We got the right people signing off on it. Yeah, y'all see the pictures with Petey Crack. Y'all seen the pictures with Core. Let's get it. Summer Session. Harris Casino. September 14th. Get your tickets. Be there. Be square.
That part in that order. He ain't said nothing wrong. I'm going to be there. And we going to bring the camera.
Yep.
Which means K going to be there too. K getting fans and shit. This is weird. Cause K don't be wanting nobody to see her. So now everybody coming up to me like, hey, I like what y'all do on the Monday show. Like, she's really good. I'm like, telling y'all that. I've just been trying to tell her.
It took you a while to get me on camera.
Well, you know how it go, man. Y'all don't listen to me, man. And I be right.
I'm not, listen.
I be right.
For the world, so y'all know. People say I'm her manager, but I'm not. I'm just her father. I'm just a father looking out for their daughter. Wanting her to be the best she can be. So the pictures and I ain't doing all that. She's the picture doing. But me, I'm just a father looking out for his daughter who wants the best for his child. No more, no less.
And if we at an event and you walk in and you see me and he's standing next to me, approach calmly. Clear your throat or cough before you get too close to us because he don't play about me.
Yes, sir.
You might get laid down.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
Love you to death, man. Keep doing a good thing.
Love
man.
y'all. Thanks for
We're
having
gonna
me.
see y'all there. We're gonna have fun that night. And
Absolutely.
I ain't even big on the champagne. I'm on the cognac, so I'm turning up for real. We gonna have some fun.
It's gonna be plenty of that
We gonna
there.
have some fun, man. No, because I know y'all y'all the pop bottle. Y'all the everybody get a bottle type. Listen, man.
Peace.
No champagne. Like y'all, man. Have a safe trip back, man. We gonna keep this show rolling while they make their exit, though. You know what I mean?
Wish I could stay longer.
Nah, you good. You did your thing, man. You contributed. Hold on, let me make sure. There we go. You know what I mean? You spoke your piece. It's all right. I do it too. It's all right. Trust me. When I knock it over, the street sign falls and everything. It's bad. Trash? Leave it right there.
Yeah.
Leave it right there.
I clean this room
Everybody
after
on
anyone.
Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. My God.
Peace.
Love you, bro.
Love you back, brother.
You already know that, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk soon. And when Lay give me my little beat pack, we going to get busy.
I still got to get some this weekend, so.
All right. Well, when you get those on randoms, don't forget K got that pop. When you need that pop.
I do. I gotta make some R&B songs.
Yeah, let's get it done, man. Let's have some
Got
fun.
you.
Let's have some fun.
She be perfect.
All right. Well, y'all figure that out on the way out. We got to get to the next topic. But I appreciate y'all, man.
Yep, absolutely. And make sure y'all come on out September 14th, Harris
Yeah,
Casino. we are having the second annual Lovely Lay Beats pre-fireworks fashion show.
That's so fire. That's so fire.
There will be Son of the 215, the legendary DJ Cool.
What?
And of course, SippinWitSammie and Lovely Lay themselves.
Hey!
All right. So what do you want to hit on next?
You tell me about what's going on SEPTA.
All right. You're excited to hear about this SEPTA thing,
No,
huh?
I don't know what it is. And you know how it be when you be like, that don't pertain to me. And then you wind up on the motherfucker. I'm looking for new jobs and stuff. I might wind up on SEPTA. Like, you don't even know what type of position I'm in right now.
That's fair.
I'm like, what
fair.
they do with SEPTA?
Okay, so a new study came out yesterday, that air pollution at Philadelphia's 15th Street subway station is considerably higher than the EPA standard. And so this came out specifically about the 15th Street station, which, if you're not familiar, Philadelphia has two main subway lines. The 15th Street station is accessible by both lines. The Broad Street station, the Broad Street line, which you see pictured here, as well as the Market Frankford line, better known as the L. Anyway, so what this really means is that air pollution is higher than what the EPA would typically allow in these stations, particularly because of their lack of ventilation. So we've all been to, if you've ridden on public transportation here in Philadelphia, you know that it's not always a pleasant experience. So one more reason to take public transit. But oftentimes it smells really bad in
Still.
our L stations. It smells like urine. It smells like body odor. It smells like gasoline. It smells stale. It's awful. So none of this is shocking to me because you can literally smell the bacteria in the air.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this study coming out? And unfortunately, it was not accompanied by any plans to make this remedy.
That was my question. Kay, you so good at this. No, because I'm literally like, we been knew that. Well, at least now they give a fuck. And then you said there's no remedy, so they don't give a fuck. Like,
so, to be clear, this was an independent study done by local researchers.
Right. Which
so
makes sense.
It's just now being presented to SEPTA,
so it might lead to
they
something.
might have a response at some point, and hopefully a response that involves investing into some of our stations. But because SEPTA is quasi-governmental, quasi-private, it's this weird type of entity that doesn't have...
It's like PPA.
It doesn't have as much direct investment from our city budget as other entities. It's exactly like the PPA. It's kind of left to fend for themselves oftentimes because it is larger than just the jurisdiction of the Philadelphia city. So it's going to be difficult to get a large type of infrastructure investment from SEPTA, considering the low ridership right now as well and the trouble that they've been facing financially.
So let's stick to something that you may be able to answer for me, because now we're talking about what is and isn't possible, right?
Yeah.
So this is somebody that independently had some form of technology and went in and checked the levels for themselves. Like they had a graph or something that read the levels when they walk, like they could walk through and test them themselves.
Yeah. I believe they used some sort of scientific... It's a researcher, so it's held to some sort of scientific standard in order to be published. So they must have used some sort of measurement tactic that the EPA typically uses to measure these things.
I think that SEPTA has so much going on for the last 20 years that they're going to have to address this at some point. I don't think they have to address it, but I think that it would be in their best interest to. I think people are becoming more health conscious and more aware of the things that are invading their spaces. And you would at least have to give enough attention to this to let somebody research it to say that it's not true. And I don't think you'll be able to prove that because we not slow. I've been smelling that for 40 years.
Yeah.
And you said lack of ventilation was a part of it, and that makes a lot of sense. Why that specific location, right? That's wild, yo. Fireworks.
Got it. All right, moving off of SEPTA.
I like that info. Thank you for that, though, because I was wondering, like, what's going on. But no matter what I do, I would have to travel through there at some point.
Yep.
That's if you know Philly transport. Like, it's weird. Even if that's not your regular route, at some point you going to have to stop past somewhere on the way home and you got to get off there.
You want to tell the folks about Harlem Basketball?
Yeah, man. Let's get into it, man. You know what? I want to start with this. Now, Kay, you considerably younger than I am, right?
Yes.
So, all right, let me put it in this terms, right? You know about battle rap and you know about street ball, right?
Yes.
Harlem street ball is similar to battle rap, whereas in like they had a scene for it very long time ago and we grew up watching it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Similar to like when N1 came out and it was the classics and all of that they were getting the footage from. We was looking at this like, wow, it's lit out there. And then we see NBA players in current times like in real time going out there and getting busy. And it was like, yo, that's amazing. But these were highlights and these were grainy tapes and things that was like, you got to really care about basketball to see it. But you appreciated it, even though Philly and New York is competitive. I had that conversation with New York people on this platform before, right? Mm-hmm. But this summer, shout out to Clash TV and Chris Gotti. They have televised or live streamed on YouTube all of the Harlem tournament games on YouTube in real time. So there's times where the network is showing you 4 or 5 live games with parks full of smoke, energy, VIPs, rappers, all type of stars, all type of community people that did a lot to make these things happen, all type of businesses, endorsements, and you're seeing it in real time, right? And Cake and Vouch, I've watched quite a bit of it.
This is true.
I become a fan of people that I don't know, I never seen before this summer, and I think that in a lot of ways, this is the new version of the N1 mixtape, where it's like, it's not a mixtape, but there's a lot of characters. Everybody in Harlem and in New York basketball gains a nickname, right? They're granted a nickname. Mm-hmm. Some which are very strange, but they stick, because if the right person say it, that's your name. And there are quite a few people whose nicknames I'm a fan of from just watching this summer of basketball and what they contributed, and some that went far, some that didn't, but I seen they get busy. There's a lot of people that played overseas. There's quite a few high school players, up and coming guys, quite a few JUCO and college players, and just some street legends and all type of those involved. But none of these people that was playing was the people that I grew up watching. But I'm literally calling out their nicknames when they getting busy, like, oh, pull that Aladdin, pull that Deadpool, all right, baby Shaq. And this is just one team. And it's like, these are personalities. They're creating their own, similar to what we was talking about before, Marvel Universe or Harlem Basketball. I want to salute them. I want to salute Chris Gotti for always providing alternatives to what we're used to in business, innovations in the business that affects our community. I think this is one of them, just the Clash TV product in itself. I think it lines up with what we know Chris Gotti for. And get well soon, Irv Gotti, which is his brother that we just found out had a stroke months ago, but has been prospering and getting his strength back through it. Mm-hmm. But Chris has been running around doing this kind of stuff all summer, and you wouldn't even know his brother was going through it. But I remember meeting him at Glockaware. I remember when he bought through the label situation, the indie label situation, and the distribution situation that he was talking about. And this is what he does. But I think that this is monumental. And Philly, we need to either get with Chris or make our own situation and figure out a way to get all these cameramen, audio, visual people, hosts, personalities paid to make something like this happen. Because this is something that, like, if you enjoy street ball, good basketball, seeing players that you may have, like, oh, what happened to him after high school? I think this is a conduit that might get some of them overseas or into the league, similar to when we saw the boy dunk on Bron in the Olympics and he was on a major stage. It don't take millions to see you sometimes. Sometimes it take the right coach that's just looking for a piece that'll accept his role, be humble, and play his part. Then they know that you'll do that because you somebody that wants back in. Right?
Absolutely.
So I think that they've done a lot for New York basketball. And even though we're saying it's Harlem basketball, them teams was from all them boroughs, yo. And if y'all know about neighborhoods playing against each other, y'all know it's heated. They had peaceful events all summer, and I want to make some noise for that.
With great attendance,
Their
great
biggest
numbers on the
problem was
stream.
people double park.
Yeah.
People double park and trying to shout everybody out, which is a blessing.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that
No, they definitely got a working recipe for sure.
I think similar to hip hop, the underground side of basketball, which is equivalent to street ball, is in good hands, and it has a lot of people involved in it like we're used to, that we're going to see matriculate to higher levels, and we're going to become fans of on a different note. And it was just good to see, man. It really, them times where it was like, damn, it's nothing on TV, it's nothing on YouTube. Oh, it's a ball game ball at Harlem. Man, I was watching, yo. I was watching. I was smoking with them. I seen games where they was renting out hookahs on courtside. It was going down out there. Like, the hood is the hood, man. They give it up like we give it up. Our problem is we only have certain leagues that don't get shot up. And we need to fix that. We need to make athletic zones, safety zones, and we be able to do the same thing. Because one thing we don't want to do is negotiate all this access and show the worst side of our city. But there's so much talent here. Like, the Danny Rump tournament should have been on Clash TV. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I don't want to say it should have been.
Could be.
It would have been beautiful. If y'all can figure out something by next year to make that happen in the city, even better.
Right.
Even better. We put out a product for the last, sheesh, Danny been going for a while, that is unrivaled. Even when we was just in Mallory before they renamed it to Danny Rump Center. Even when it was just us that grew up against each other, playing against each other, it was a great product. The NBA, the overseas, the attendance has all been up. The venues have all been up since then. And there was Bentleys on the sidewalk at Mallory back in the day. So we need that exposure. We need to show them the kind of basketball we giving up. And part of the thing that the Danny Rump tournament, and shout out to my man Mike Morak, have included is they got those young ladies out there getting exposure in the Danny Rump tournament, and they got them babies out there too. And I think that that's something that needs to be seen too, if it doesn't cross any lines of when it comes to exposure.
That would be a good documentary to do.
I think it's coming because Mike is on everything. He's actually an NBA affiliate and all of that. Like, Mike is on it. Since they're for people that don't know, Danny Rump is he from where I come from. And a lot of the people that I grew up hooping with is his best friends. And Mike Morak and I don't want to start naming names because it's quite a few of them, and if I forget one it'll be bad. But Mike Morak is the organizer and the main energy behind the Danny Rump tournament. But they were on the court when Danny died from a heart complication. He scored the game-winning point and he passed out and never recovered in front of his best friends. And they have taken that super seriously, and they have treated it, the Danny Rump Foundation, the Danny Rump tournament, their affiliates, and all of that, as they should. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm proud of them, yo. You don't know how many people contribute to a Danny Rump tournament. You don't know how many people hug Danny's mom every year that don't know that woman, that she respects and appreciates that love. It's a beautiful thing to see, man. Because Danny was going to the league in our eyes. He was going to Western Kentucky. It was his freshman year, and he was home, and he passed out working out. It was devastating.
Honestly.
And I remember that day specifically.
So, someone else who's passed out on the court and had a health scare. Let's talk about Bronny.
Let's talk about Bronny. Good transition. I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. See how I did that? So this is your topic, and I'm not exactly sure what the swindle is, so I'm going to let you explain it.
Shout out to Marcellus Wallace. Marcellus, what's Marcel? What's Cell name?
Marcellus.
He's a YouTuber, and he said, did they fool us or did they swindle us with Bronny? I forget the name of the topic, but I watched the video, and he was actually showing workouts with Bronny and some of his teammates and other athletes, and between what we saw from Bronny in college, which was very limited and based on, like you said, he passed out. He had a medical emergency. It's if he can get back to being 12th man on the bench, that's a blessing, right? Mm-hmm. But people judge him differently because he was drafted in the second round of a weak draft on a team that his dad was on. We all know that's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. But what I saw and what Cell was seeing in them videos, Bronny ain't that slouch that y'all think he is, yo. Similar to what I said earlier in the program about when Angel Reese get to work out with them ones, them trainers, them real, Mm-hmm. Not like he wasn't working out with his dad the whole time, but his dad can only push certain buttons and his dad only know what he know, right?
Of course.
His dad is a superior athlete. A lot of things came easily to his father. So if Bronny doesn't get it, it might be hard for Brian sometimes to train his son how to get it because he's like, this is simple. You might could refer him to somebody that knows how to break it down in a way where he's doing it before he even realizes he's doing it because they gave him the fundamentals or the motions to get to that point, right?
Right.
Sometimes somebody teach you the dance steps one by one. This is 1, 2, 3, and 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 5. And then you look up, you on the other side of the dance floor.
Well, and not for nothing, but one of LeBron's biggest strengths, in my opinion, is his body awareness. And I would have to feel like some of that is genetic. And some of that also comes from watching somebody who's great at body awareness. So when you have that body awareness, you can easily pick up skills once you hit it once. So as soon as he's with these elite trainers like you're talking about, I'm not surprised that he's going to be great. I still have hopes that, LeBron has skills and will show some sort of talent when it comes to the NBA. I do not think that he's...
Bronny.
I said Bronny.
You keep saying LeBron.
I said Bronny.
All right.
Didn't I?
No.
I do think that Bronny still is going to show some sort of talent when it comes to the NBA. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be a LeBron in terms of where he ends up with his career, but that's an extremely high standard to hold any player to.
But even beyond that, and you make a great point, I'm glad you said that, yo. When have we ever seen somebody pick past 50 and expect to get an instant impact from them?
Never.
In the NBA.
Never.
This ain't the NFL where it's 18 rounds of people that might be somebody. This is the NBA. Second round, midway through the second round, right? Or late in the second round, he was picked up. Why do we expect instant impact instead of development?
Only because he's LeBron's son.
And that's the part where it's like, yo, and Brian said it recently when he went viral for saying that his son is not allowed to call him dad in the workplace. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. He said, like, well, it's easy for me because I've always called him Bronny. As opposed to just being son. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it made me think of my relationship with my dad. And my dad used son in certain situations. It wasn't my moniker, if you understand. And if you know my family, I have 4 different nicknames within my family.
Facts.
So
I'm trying to think of what I've heard your dad call you. It's only James, I think.
Oh, he called me John the last segment.
I mean, when he gets your name right.
But like he would say little things like, you know, you my best son, right? And I'm your only son. But he would use it like in situations of jest. It wasn't like son. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the thing, but I'm just saying, like, he used to, like, joke about it. Like, he wouldn't call me his son. And everybody else called me something else. So my dad, I remember my dad telling me he didn't like that my aunt, uncle, and grandparents called me JD. Some of them called me JD, some of them called me Darnell. He thought JD was country. He said all his country cousins had initials. So that was something that stuck out to me, but it didn't bother me. Like, it's my name. I got 18 names out here in these streets, man. All of them good. But no, I think that Bronny, I brought this point up and this topic up because I think everybody, like, the hype of what's going on with Bronny has kind of died down. And I think part of it is because you can't sensationalize what he's been doing. We're watching him grow in real time. And he's athletic enough. He's built for the NBA. He has a mentality for the NBA. And we're going to see somebody within the next 3 years that will make a lot of people eat their words. He doesn't have to be a superstar. He has to be good enough to be a main contributor for his team.
True.
And I think that's the bar that I'm gonna leave him at. I'm not going to ever make him try to be the top 5 best player in the NBA history when his dad is already that. That's crazy. How many households get 5 of them? Like, oh yeah, my dad was that, then I was that, then my son was that. That's not happening out here. Jordan's sons wasn't that. Jordan's son went viral for something else a month ago.
Anyway, let's move on.
And how about that? That's the best comparison. Jordan's son went viral for something else.
Let's move on to Hitman versus Geechi.
You excited?
Yeah. I think this is a matchup I'm excited to see.
This is the one we've been waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for years, like, when Hitman wasn't even outside, we was like, damn, we ain't never see, Geechi can't get that hit. You know what I mean? Am I tripping?
No.
And it's on the Bags and Bodies card, from what I understand. So this is Hitman's league. So I think that, we know Geechi is a businessman, right? And we know support black business and overlapping business is part of what him and Hitman actually preach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is the actual, like, I think the average battle rap fan wants to see this on URL, right?
Sure, of course.
I think this makes more sense for the people involved independently.
I would agree with that. I think
Geechi has the Riot. Hitman has Bags and Bodies League.
Yeah.
We might even figure out a way to make it make sense for both. You know what I mean? I put a couple of it's boxing at that point, right?
Yeah.
I think that this, I love to see this. I love the setup of it, is what I'm saying.
Here's my only pushback on the setup of it. When you are both the league owner and battling, it puts an additional layer of pressure on you where you're already planning a huge event and trying to execute everything that goes into that. And then on top of it, you also have to memorize your rounds and be battle ready. So for both of them to possibly be in that position for this battle, it's added pressure than if they were to just do it on URL. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think that they're both elite and that added pressure makes sense for their caliber of artists. So I agree with you that this is a better scenario than URL, but I think it's worth pointing that out.
I don't even know if it's better. I think it makes more sense for the personalities of the people involved at this point of their career, if that makes sense.
Sure. My question though, Geechi is coming off of a point in his career where his last couple of battles, he was less than spectacular. He wasn't his normal Geechi self. So for him, at his point in his career, going into this battle, how do you think that that's going to end up playing out for him?
You know how fights are based on style?
Mm-hmm.
This one of them for Geechi. Like, Geechi is in a privileged position. He could show up halfway for shit. He knows how to freestyle and all of that. So there's all type of reasons that he might play with somebody. He's not playing with the highest viewed battler in battle rap. It's Hitman, Cassidy, and Charlie Clips. You don't play with that battle. He is going to try to destroy. And one thing we know about Geechi is Geechi's somebody that'll break somebody down based on principle, based on his perception of how they carry themselves, right? And Hitman left a lot on the table this year. He's been so vocal in spaces that there's moments that, whether true or not, whether Hitman still believes what he said or not, they look funny in the light, and I can make a round off that. You have less to do that with Geechi. You could try to discredit him as a Crip, as a leader, or you could try to discredit his career as far as impact versus yours, which is the angles that we think that Hitman is more likely to lean towards, right? It doesn't hold the same weight. It don't. He could talk about everything from Hitman's situation with Averb to Hitman's situation when his house got ran in, to Hitman getting set up for his jewelry. It's none of them stories on Geechi except the time niggas act like they was gonna start shooting and he hid behind a tree.
I was gonna say the tree story. That's it.
It don't add up. It literally don't add up. It's like when Hov said they ain't pulled my coat yet and I keep my shit in coat check. Geechi one of them kind of, like, you could joke about his charge because it seemed like some clown shit. You robbed the Eckerts. Well, if it was Perks in there, then that's a lick.
Have they announced a location for this
I
battle?
believe it's in Atlanta.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's in Atlanta.
That's kind of perfect neutral ground for them.
Well, it's not neutral because Hitman lives in Atlanta and Bags and Bodies lives in Atlanta.
Yeah, but it's not St. Louis.
No, it's not St. Louis and it's not California, so I like that. You right on that point. But I think that Geechi is one of those artists that doesn't matter because until Caffeine, he never had home games anyway, and he was one of the ones that battled the most out of everybody.
Right, but
so I don't think that that's like a thing. I think like literally how serious they take it is the biggest
But
thing.
Hitman in St. Louis is a motherfucker.
Hitman
like
in St. Louis probably is not allowed.
That's what I'm saying.
They might shut it down.
Anybody versus Hitman in St. Louis is probably going to lose.
But the thing is, in recent history, for those that's not keeping up, he's going through it with Averb. That's a St. Louis rapper. He's going through it with the same boy from back in the day that he told y'all was the boy that just came home from jail. What's his name? They going through some stuff back home. It's a lot going on, and Hitman has been jumping out there a lot. So my point of saying that is, when this battle was announced, before this battle was announced, you saw Hitman going back and forth with Verb, and then you saw Hitman start shooting at Geechi, and Geechi shooting back, or vice versa, right? Mm-hmm. And then people were saying that Hitman didn't have the same energy for Geechi as he had for Verb because he's scared of Geechi. And then some people said, well, they must have a battle coming up. And within 24 hours, because I think so many people saw through the facade, the battle was announced. This is how we got here. I think both of them take it very seriously. I think it'll get crazy. Can I do something real quick?
Yep.
Let me see if I can call the bull.
The bull.
Who the bull? Who the bull I call, you know what I mean?
Cash.
Let's see what the bull doing. Bull with the toothache. I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to bore y'all. I want to keep y'all in here. Let us know what y'all think, man. Tap in.
Absolutely.
Your call has been forwarded to
Alright,
voicemail.
I can't get him. I ain't text him ahead of time. I wasn't doing no fake production. He might call me back, though. But I wanted to get his take on this, and that was C Cash, by the way. He also just had a battle this weekend, and they showed up heavy and all of that. I was trying to get his take on that, but I think this Hitman versus Geechi is going to be dope. I think I'm more excited about this and the boxing match from Suge, you know. Mm-hmm. Let's get one round straight than anything else that's going on right now in battle rap. I'll take the little twos and fews, but the pay-per-views I'm willing to pay for at this point, I want to see the boxing and I want to see this.
Oh, I'm definitely getting the boxing.
Oh, the boxing is going to be like Gilly night. It's just going to cost double.
Yep.
You know how that's going to go.
Yep.
And Gilly and them need to do another fight night. That was awesome, yo. It's been a year, right?
Yeah.
Let's do that. That was one of my... Yo, no bullshit. Since things shifted with streaming and all of that, that was one of my favorite events. Besides, like, Versus. I had a ball.
All right. So let's get into this Lil Wayne versus Vegas situation.
Did you check up on this?
No, I did not.
So Wayne was on stage in Vegas, and he made reference to the fact that he couldn't smoke his weed on stage while trying to provide the ultimate show for his fans in Vegas. But in the casinos, you can still smoke cigarettes. And the funny thing about it is, there's a lot of jurisdiction and things that's been going on recently about the fact that a lot of the people that work in the casinos want them to ban cigarette smoking. You know, every casino you go in that's mainstream, there's a section that you walk through that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. You can't smoke weed in that section either. Mm-mm. Can't smoke a cigar, can't smoke, you know what I mean? But cigarettes is flying.
Yep.
And if I'm working here 70 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 40 hours a week, 25 hours a week, that affects me.
Yep.
But when we're in an outdoor venue and I want to light my spliff, my joint, my blunt, they might kick me off stage, arrest me, fine me, and all of that. So Wayne made an announcement. Let me see if I can find it real quick, actually. But what do you think so far? Talk to me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I understand the.
I want to make sure I explain
cigarette culture of casinos,
especially Vegas, right?
Especially in Vegas, absolutely. And you know, we went to Vegas recently and definitely had to smoke outside.
Here's the thing.
That was definitely a thing. Even though there were cigarettes all over the place, it was super annoying.
Oh, where is it? Maybe I put it in my story. Let me check real quick.
But I guess you haven't dropped the punchline for me yet, because I understand him being upset. But
they smoke cigarettes in casino, like the old ladies be at the slaps with the cigarettes, and they come home and that shit be smelling everywhere. So you can't smoke on the stage and trying to entertain me.
Hold up, I'm gonna go back. We live, y'all. My bad. I didn't plan to go to it. I was trying to get back to it to see if I could go to the page. It's not letting me go to it. But yeah, that was the situation. Like, alright, let's talk about it from a cultural standpoint, right? We got Snoops, Wiz, Currencies, Waynes, right? Mm-hmm. They get to smoke where you can't smoke at.
Yeah, but if they start smoking, their fans start smoking.
But if we're in a festival vibe, or we're somewhere where the non-smoking section still affects the non-smokers in a casino, then what is the hierarchy? That's like somebody that smokes cigarettes telling me, "Ew, you smell like weed," which was a problem with mine a few years ago.
I mean, I hear you and I don't disagree, but it is what it is. Like, we're still fighting to get weed decriminalized in a lot of places. So
when you was in Vegas last, where they're not dispensaries next to dispensaries to get weed from?
Yes.
Where were you supposed to smoke that weed at?
Well, and that's part of the legislative issue when trying to legalize something.
Where did you smoke your weed
at? In a parking garage.
Right.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
Yeah.
That's the ball drop.
No, I mean, I hear you. I get it. But at the same time, the laws are what the laws are, so...
No, I just think...
Like, what are you going to do? Not play in Vegas just because you can't smoke weed? Like,
well, this is the same artist that ran into trouble, which was way more deep, in New York, and said, "I'm never coming back to New York again." He has options. Like you could say, like, what are you going to do? Never go back to Vegas? No, Wayne would never go back to Vegas. Wayne is Dave Chappelle of hip-hop.
I mean, sure, and that's fine, but, like, alright. Then don't.
Alright, but what I'm asking...
Vegas has so many options that they're not gonna... Like, Vegas doesn't see Lil Wayne's complaint.
Scientifically, or whatever have you, what we know about the difference between weed, hookah, cigarettes, and Black and Milds. Which is the least dangerous?
Weed.
That's all I'm saying.
Again, I don't disagree, but the rules are what the rules are.
All right, so let's go to the next thing. That was a goodie. Good job. Good job.
See, you keep doing this to me. You keep talking about drugs, and then we keep getting shadow banned on TikTok. So I keep having to restart our live on TikTok.
My bad. I don't know how to, like, you know. I'll adjust. I gotta learn. I'm not saying like.
Sorry, TikTok. Be right back.
One of the strengths about me is that I'm me, and I don't know how to curve a lot of things, but I'm learning. I gotta start saying, I start talking like I'm on the phone. That's what it is. That's what the internet wants you to do. They want to talk. They want you to. Then I'll get indicted. But whatever. Where you want to go next?
All right, now we're back. I got this out the way.
Trolling dies.
That was you last week.
Queen's Foot. You want to talk about that? Did you peep what's going on right now?
Not really.
Let's talk about it. I think it's a good topic.
Okay.
So, shout out to Queen's Flip. Somebody that a lot of us, similar to what I was saying earlier, we met Queen's Flip through battle rap, yo. And then he became a personality, and he became one of the first quote-unquote trolls, one of the first people to just start stuff for no apparent reason or to do things that may get him hurt or locked up. He was way before that generation of Fat Boy and all of them that came through. He was one of the originals that was just like putting himself on the line to make content in his way based on his energy. And we all respect Queen's Flip that know Queen's Flip from that time for the most part, because we've been able to see him progress. Audiences love to grow with you. Never take that for granted. So what happens is Queen's Flip goes from this lovable character that battled Jay Black in a battle, that was a part of a lot of battles, that was standing next to people in battles, that helped people get battles, that he did a lot in battle rap. And then we seen he was cool with like Jim Jones and all of them and the people attached to him and a lot of people, and he was just always on the scene. So he's been able to monetize his personality. Salute to him, because as far as I know, Queen's Flip never really hurt too many people. One of his most viral videos at the time was him going crazy over something in the car and spilling his beverage on his son or daughter that was in the passenger seat. He did it a couple times. He might smash a cake. He would just do crazy stuff. He had a situation where he acted crazy and Young and May stole him. But once he got on the JBP, which is the Joe Budden podcast, the staff on the Joe Budden podcast, the co-host, Joe himself, have been telling Flip that there's going to reach a point where you're not going to want to be attached to these things. And sometimes you're saying like, yo, I got to go get my money. I got an opportunity to get a couple thousand from this opportunity that doesn't add up to your trajectory. So you can take $2,500 today, but it's holding you back from where you're headed. Does that make sense, Kay?
Mm-hmm.
And we seen them have those conversations with Flip, and what we know from Flip is that Flip always wants to be anti. He always wants to push back, even if he agrees. He wants you to prove to him that you agree with what he's saying, or that you're right about what you're saying. And I think recently, according to his videos and what he's been saying on the podcast, Flip is tired of being a guy that everywhere he goes, somebody is scared of him or waiting for him anxiously to crash out, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for him to break something, waiting for him to yell at somebody, waiting for somebody to grab him or for him to grab somebody. And one of Queen's Flip's favorite lines is, "Don't touch me, don't touch me." But we know that Queen's Flip touches everything he attends, physically.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've been seeing is nowadays he's going from skits to long format content. He's doing 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours with like IRL type comment that's edited. So it's like he gets JR, his son, shout out to JR, to follow him, but they edit certain things and they put it in a way where it's digestible, where some of the bullshit possibly doesn't make it, but it feels like IRL. But when he decided to switch over to that, and this is something that we both know about media, your audience doesn't always understand that, because sometimes your audience only sees your highlights. They see the last time you got choked up. They didn't see the last 3 podcasts or videos when you were saying, yo, I'm turning a new leaf.
Right.
Right? I'm not into that no more. So what we're seeing is Flip in real time having to be honest on a podcast about the fact that he understands where they were pointing him, while we see him amongst the people trying to explain to the people, yo, calm down. I'm trying to chill now. So I think he represents a great experiment in social media. We've seen a lot of people, including Fat Boy, who I mentioned earlier, or Bunk Gang that had all the tattoos over his face that went Christian and started trying to get people baptized. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes you might want the attention and the trajectory from something, but if you're not willing to grow, you will die in it.
Yeah.
But that transition is not going to be easy. You're not going to be able to say it 5 times and everybody falls in line. You're going to run into people that ain't been on the internet and ain't seen that all month, and you're going to have to reiterate that. And I think that that's what Flip has actually been struggling with, but I think he's strong enough to get through it. I think him and JR are a great team.
Well, and I think also,
think about that?
Especially since it's trolling in particular, like, people are just going to think that you're trolling them by saying that you're not trolling anymore. So you have to get over that hurdle too. Like, nobody's gonna believe you at first because of who you've been and what you grew your career doing.
Just imagine, while you were trolling and touching everybody, you was telling everybody, don't touch me. And then now when you really mean don't touch me.
Right.
Like, think of the irony in that one catchphrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I suffer from that too. You know what I go through.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult hill to kind of climb out of. But I love the fact that Queen's Flip is recognizing that he needs to grow up in terms of his media content and what he's putting out into the world, and how he's approaching his fame now that he has a following and has gotten to a certain level and he's in these rooms and having these conversations. I'm proud of him for, like, taking these steps and starting to make that transition. So kudos to him. It's definitely going to be a struggle, and I know there's definitely going to be some frustrating times, but it's going to be worth it in the end when you get to the other side and are able to build this new persona of who you really are as a grown man.
I like the I'm able to understand the dichotomy, so to speak, of what happened, right? Remember when Flip first got on Joe's podcast and things would happen that he was uncomfortable with? He would go home and go on his platform and form his rebuttal or opinion or angle on the subject, right? Mm-hmm. We went from that to the complete opposite, to where things are happening in his YouTube space on his own platform, and he's going back to them and saying, y'all were right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I think that Flip is stronger than y'all give him credit for, yo.
Right.
I think that's awesome. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, to be able to do that, it's the same thing y'all want from y'all artists and y'all entertainers. Y'all take him as a joke, but y'all don't realize he actually does the thing that y'all want to see in real time. The reason a lot of people can't relate to certain people like a Drake or other people is because they never had that human moment where they say, oh shit, I fucked up. My bad. Right?
Yeah.
When they say, y'all was right. They find ways to compound it and lean it in their direction, or try to find 40% that agrees with them and discredit the 60%, or maybe have the 60%, right? Mm-hmm. But it's so close. I think Flip is doing a great job of showing growth, so I want to do this. Also, Flip is a father. His daughter has been a part of his skits. His son went from being a part of his skits to being his main cameraman. Mm-hmm. You're walking in these places where you may have certain access, but they want to deny you a certain portion of the access because they don't know what you're going to do on that set, right? We have a sponsor over here that we can't fuck that up with. We might not give you that access, right?
Right.
But when I walk through the gate, what I'm saying is my son is with me. Let my son in. Right? which means I don't want to be in the middle of no bullshit, but y'all might not understand that. So
Yeah.
I always have to leave every time I walk in the gate. Y'all questioning the camera behind me.
Right.
And I'm saying that's my son, which is honorable. But like he's doing that for a reason. And he's trying to work his way out of that reasoning. If that makes sense. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I just want to salute Queen's Flip. I think that you trying to put 20 years up against 3 months, and it's going to be a struggle. But part of any religion that you believe in is that once you say that you're going to change your ways, you will be tested. And I think that you get a B plus, maybe a B, on your response to being tested. Because even when we seen you get to that part where you was ready to turn up, you found a way to reincorporate it probably better than I could. That's why I avoid the turn up. Because I don't really know how to reel it back in. I don't know how to change my facial expression after I get it. So salute to you, man. But I think that it's something that creators and content people and people that run up on people with cameras respect the fact that this is somebody that used to do drawing shit to people when he wasn't so known that he doesn't want done to him or the people that he wants to get around. And there's levels to it. Don't put yourself in no box, yo, just to get some streams and some likes. It's corny.
All right.
And I gave examples of other people that, you know, ran that route and is not decent after a couple of years.
All right. 50 versus Dame.
Let's talk about it. So 50 was recently on an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game with Gilly and Wallow.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about his progression and how he came up and what his original deal was, and he said he signed for $1 million. And you know how 50 is. He'll tie something to something that's not directly tied to him and make it about him in a brilliant way. So once he said that, and it was like, your original deal was $1 million, he was like, yeah, but the only person I heard say $1 million wasn't no money was Dame Dash, and he broke. Like, he did it so fast, Kay. You heard it, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
And it was like, a lot of people that watch that, they're going to think that he's saying that Dame told him he could have signed for more if he would have went with them or something business-wise to that effect.
No, that's not what he said.
That's not what he was talking about. He was talking about when Dame made the viral comment about how you break down an artist's first $1 million and what it goes to.
Yep.
And 50's response was, man, I'm from Jamaica, Queens. $1 million is a lot of money. And that coming from somebody that's done what he's done in Shreveport, what he's done on Stars, 13 million of his major label first release.
Mm-hmm.
It make a lot of sense. Now, another part of that wasn't delved into, if you watch the Breakfast Club interview, which a lot of this energy comes from with how a lot of people look at Dame, Dame was telling everybody, I'm not going to spend their money, I'm going to spend my money. You a sucker if you keep running around trying to get their money. So then you look at the business plan. You look at Dame trying to present as independent, whether he is or isn't, is that's the representation. I invest in all my own stuff, and I benefit from it, and everybody in my crew is good. It's how he presents it.
Yeah.
And then you see 50, who gets with Stars with limited leverage, and every time they start playing funny with him, he tells all his fans, unsubscribe tomorrow.
Yep.
And then things get renegotiated. To the point where now he's talking about he's releasing an app, where the conversation came from, that'll have all of his content on it, including all of those Star shows. And it'll be his own app. And it'll be promotion on, ad based, so it'll be free.
I mean, sounds great in theory. Better check those contracts and make sure you got all the rights you need.
They've renegotiated quite a few times because, like we said, he went from Power to building a multiverse. I think 50's probably covered. Yeah, that's what Shreveport's about.
Oh man, great, good for him.
Because I'm gonna tell you what 50 knows. One thing that he said in an interview was the things that happen with other entities that were rappers that made clothing moves and marketing moves like that when it came to product, he took heed of, and that's why G Unit was what it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the TV space, I'm overcharging niggas for what they did to the Cold Crush. That makes sense? He's aware of how the traditional contract deal, like let's look at Marlon Wayne's and Scary Movie, right?
Okay.
Their original contract to get distribution was that by the third Scary Movie, they would no longer own the title.
Mm-hmm.
50's not signing up for that no more.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. When we saw Wu-Tang go international because they weren't internationally covered, 50 branded G Unit internationally so he wouldn't be the one that had the highest selling brand that he wasn't getting a check from. He's been doing that since then. Since mixtapes. That's all I'm saying.
Alright, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
It gotta be a K topic.
Let's talk about football.
Oh, we back, B.
Football is back, baby.
Baby.
So the NFL is back starting this coming week. Week 1. Let's talk about the games and let's talk about your predictions. So obviously we start out on Thursday with the Ravens versus the Chiefs. I personally think this is one of the best matchups we could have possibly gotten to start out the NFL season.
What?
Ravens versus the Chiefs. Who do you have winning that game?
I gotta go with the Chiefs. But on some real shit, I want the Ravens.
I want the Ravens to win so
it,
bad.
to make it so interesting. And Lamar got something on the table, so yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think that that's a far-fetched hope. But the Chiefs coming off of their Super Bowl win, you can't really vote
back
against
to back,
them.
they're going for the trifecta.
Yeah, you can't really go against them in the first week of the NFL. So I agree with you. I'm going with Chiefs for that game. Second game we have Friday night is the Packers-Eagles game in Brazil.
The Eagles not allowed to wear green, right?
They're both allowed to wear green if they want to wear green.
Can you explain what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so that was like in April or something, or May. There was a story going around that because of gang culture in Brazil, the teams would not be able to wear green. That story was not actually founded. Both teams are able to wear green. You are able to wear green inside the stadium. The real reason that story came out is because green is the color of the rival soccer team whose stadium they are occupying. It's their team color. So that's why the joke is you don't wear green to that stadium. But in all actuality, you will be fine. Obviously, considering both teams share the color green. So, Eagles versus Green Bay. Who do you think is going to come out on top for that matchup?
Eagles.
All right. Me as well. And then we move on to Sunday. And Sunday has, I think, 13 different games on Sunday. So we have, I'm just going to go rapid fire. You tell me who's going to win. Panthers versus the Saints.
Saints.
Vikings versus the Giants.
Vikings.
Patriots versus the Bengals.
Bengals.
Steelers versus the Falcons.
Steelers.
I'm saying Falcons there. Otherwise, I've been agreeing with you so far.
All right.
Texans versus the Colts.
Texans.
Cardinals versus the Bills. Another great matchup.
Yeah, that's good. Buffalo.
I agree. I think the Colts might come out on top over the Texans. I forgot to say that.
Okay.
Titans versus the Bears.
You said Titans. I just said that, right? I said Titans.
Oh, I'm saying Bears. Jaguars versus the Dolphins.
Miami.
Agreed. Broncos versus the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Agreed. Raiders versus the Chargers.
Chargers.
Agreed. Cowboys versus the Browns.
I think Cowboys, but I want the Browns because Cowboys playing too much. No, like he be doing weird. Never mind.
There's some contract things going on with the Cowboys too.
Like,
yeah,
what you trying to prove, bro?
Yeah.
Get niggas in the gym.
I think the Browns might actually win that
Get
one.
motherfuckers on the field.
Commanders versus the Buccaneers.
I'm going Bucks.
I think I might go Commanders on that. Take the underdog.
I'm never betting for the Commanders. Change your name.
Rams versus the Lions. I'm definitely going Lions.
Yeah, I'm going Detroit.
I have high hopes for Detroit this year in general.
Because you watched that Netflix. Yeah, you got some inside info.
Yep. And then finally, last game of the week will be on Monday, and that is the Jets versus 49ers. I think we both agree San Francisco is the favorite there.
I think it's a good game, though.
I mean, I think that overall, for week one, these are great matchups. Yeah, I agree. So I'm very excited. Football is back. My fantasy team draft is on Wednesday. Wish me luck. Hopefully I do well. And, stay tuned and stay tuned into us as we go through the NFL season because we'll be talking about all of it.
Yeah, I might actually bring in some professionals. I'm on my own Cam and Mace joint right now. I got a couple fighters I'm talking to for specific things. I got some athletes I'm talking to for specific things, and I got some MCs I'm talking to for specific things. So as we grow the network, you'll see it. You'll see it little by little. We're going to do it in spurts. We ain't going to guarantee y'all nothing weekly, but when that segment come up, you'll respect it. So we're going to have some fun, man. There's a lot of things going on, and we are seasoned in this space. So as soon as we figure out how to keep making sure we maximize the production of these streams, we're going to keep adding more to it. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
We need shirts that say, does that make sense? I say that way too much.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I do. But I just be thinking like, either I'm speaking too fast or you listening too slow. I just want to make sure we on the same time.
So I am officially out of topics for this week. We do have one left over from last week. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that or not.
I'm cool up that because I would have to, they apologized.
Great. Perfect. So I guess that's it for us for this week. But just in case you guys forgot, we do this every Monday at 6 p.m. on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. We usually pregame on Twitch a little bit early, starting around 5:30. Go live on every platform at 6 p.m. We cover everything from sports, hip-hop news, other entertainment news, politics, battle rap, and everything in between. In addition to the Sammy Streams on Mondays, we also have the podcast itself that drops every Thursday at 4 p.m. on YouTube. And we also drop other content exclusively for YouTube, including our Trippin' with Sammies. Just last week, we dropped the premiere to Criers. So please do go on to our YouTube page at SippinWitSammie, SippinWitSammie on YouTube and check that one out.
And we just dropped the episode with DJ Trail.
We also just dropped the episode with DJ Trail this past week. And have a new episode coming out for you this coming Thursday.
Yep.
Content dropping every day on YouTube, sometime between happy hour 4 and 6. Stay tuned for all the shorts, the lives, the long form content, and everything in between. If you want to get with me, you can find me on IG at FontPhilly, PHANTPHILLY. I'm also on Twitch now myself, so find me at Font215, PHANT215, where you can find me streaming some of my video edits as I'm putting together our Trippin' with Sammies especially. So check that out as well. And my camera just froze.
Flip it to me.
That's the problem. It froze.
All right. Well, shout out to the people. Appreciate everybody that tapped in.
Hold
wherever
on, I
we're
got you.
streaming on.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Yeah. Shout out to all of y'all, man. I had a great time. Shout out to Kay. She killed it today. Shout out to Pops. Shout out to Lovely Lay. Shout out to C Cash. Get right, bro. I'm very proud of what we doing here, and I'm very excited about what we have coming up. So I just want y'all to keep tapping in, and like I say, just subscribe. Scroll through the page, see what we got going on. The next few trippings that's coming up are already filmed, and they're phenomenal. They're exciting. They're fun. Shout out once again to Kate from Fine Productions, because she's going to have to edit those. Shout out to Fines from Fines TV. He actually asked me the timeline on the y'all tripping behind the scenes, you know,
Y'all drawing
footage, and I said, man, y'all a couple down, but we got y'all, and he said he appreciated it. But we gonna get Fines through here too. I got a lot of things on deck, a lot of people that have been supporting us. We appreciate y'all. I do have the merch is around, glasses, t-shirts, rolling trays, lighters, all of that, but I'm gonna get on track with all of that. I just been trying to make sure that we can keep up with the keeping up, but please believe me, it's about to get crazy. Stay tapping in with us, and we gonna stay providing y'all with some fly shit. Fly shit only. That's all I know.
I got one more thing to say.
Do it.
It's K-Week!
Oh yeah.
My birthday is on Friday. So I might do a stream on Friday too if for some birthday love. So check me out on Twitch on Friday. And that's that.
Nah, make sure y'all show Kay some love for real. Like, I ain't joking. Kay one of them, she fight for us. If y'all know her, you know she probably doing more for you than you think. And on that note, we out of here. This is Sippin' with Sammy. I am Mr. Fly Shit Only, the one and only Sippin' with Sammy. Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammy, you ain't sippin' right.
Damn, Sammy, you done fucked up.
Thanks, Sammy.
Yeah, boy.